Check, check, mic check. Hello, hello. Check, check. Testing 1, 2. Everything is super duper high. Anyway, I am sleepy. Bye. Let's keep it nice and close. Close, close, close. Check, check. Testing 1, 2. Mic check. Hey, hey. Check, check. Mic check. Testing 1, 2. Hey, hey. Check, check. Testing 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check. Check, check. Mic check. Check, check, testing 1, 2. Hey, hey, check, check.
Yeah, it was so fast.
You what? What'd you do, Jen?
My Butcher Box game.
Oh, Butcher Box. Wait till the show starts, and then we can start with the sponsor.
So
Yeah.
before we do that, a little bit of housekeeping for you guys. December 4th and December 5th, I will be on my internship. So that's a Monday and a Tuesday. So if you guys wanted to do that week without me, by all means, go for it, because it's just not going to happen for me that week.
Whose pick is that? Isn't that next week?
I think it's actually my pick. No, next week is the 27th, so I'll be able to make the 27th.
For those of us just joining us, we were talking schedule. So welcome to Good Flickas before the Good Flickas.
I told you before you brought us in, but that's fine. Bring us in.
We're already 30 minutes late. The least that we can do is give them something to explain
Anyone that's
why.
following us now knows we never started.
Yeah, there's
It's not
nobody.
the point. It's about being courteous and respecting our audience, whether they're there or not. We appreciate you guys, and we're thinking about you and thinking of you in the future when you're thinking about us.
But anyway,
give us a like, give us a follow. Come on, people, get off your asses.
So next week is good. That's Nick's pick. And then it's actually, ironically, it's my pick, 4th and 5th. I will miss that entire week. So if
So why
you
don't
guys,
you and Nick switch?
or me and Matt could switch, either one.
Or you and Matt.
Actually, let's just do that. I'll just switch with Matt.
Why? Okay.
All right. So you guys will you'll do that show without me. And then the week after that, I would be able to do Tuesday, not a Monday.
I'm sorry, what now?
Next.
I'm so tired, dude. Like I lost you after we figured out the 4th. Like I don't know.
You guys are the worst. Okay, we'll stop, since apparently your brains can only hold just so much.
Dude. Yes, I'm so freaking tired. I don't know how you were functioning.
We'll keep next week is the same. That's going to be Nick's pick, and then the week after that, Matt, that's you. Brian's not there. And then I will remind you guys next week, because I gotta apparently just get my little ducks in a row.
Do you want to see my freezer? I showed Matt.
I love the segue.
Well, the funny thing is, she's not even talking about her actual freezer. She's talking about the Safeway freezer.
Do you see what we have? Our pies are in the very back right corner. It's Mount Everest. Climbing Mount Everest.
I just love the way you said it. Like, has anyone seen my freezer? like it's lost.
It is lost.
That was the cadence of it.
What a wonderful new take on the is your refrigerator running? Well, then you can catch it.
Have anybody seen the freezer?
Has anyone seen my freezer?
Oh my god. This is gold. I'm so glad we're live right now. Just truly fantastic. Are we ready to start? We keep chatting. This is gold. I don't want to stop.
Has anyone seen my freezer?
Nick, you need to edit out that video, please. We're live.
I've got this giant ass hole in my kitchen now, and
Nick, when you're editing this, can you please make that just a specific clip? Just that whole bit.
Yeah.
just make it a separate little clip. Save that for us. That's got to be advertising for us on Instagram.
Watch me.
That has to be a post.
Just like a 2-second YouTube video of Jen saying that.
When I'm
I need the full clip.
Guys, we need to we gotta bring this up, okay?
That's why we're talking about this right now. That was amazing. This is gold, and we miss it. All right. Are we ready to get going, guys?
Mhm.
All right, welcome to Good Flickas, home of the Good Flickas. Can you take our critiques and our antics? Let's find out. We are diving into the Good Dinosaur tonight. That was Jen, your pick. I know I'm so tired I forgot to do introductions. So I'm of course Matt. This is how I am all the time when I'm introducing myself to new people. It's like, oh shit, I have a name. I should probably tell you. But I am, of course, Matt. I am joined tonight with Brian, the man, the myth, the legend.
I'm just here to make my mark.
Attaboy. Yes. Respect. Make your mark. I love it. We are also joined tonight with the freezer lady herself, Jen. No big bowl tonight.
Searching for a freezer.
No big bowl tonight, but that's okay. And rounding us out tonight is going to be Nick with a plate of what looks to be tacos or possibly bagels or maybe pizza.
They are Euros.
Oh, he went all fancy with me on what it is. Okay.
Yeah, Costco had these like family size packages of like Euro kits. And
I've seen those.
Oh, nice. Kudos to you for picking your pronunciation too. I still have no idea how to say it.
Sorry, you've all started talking at the same time.
I only got 1 ear.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like a family size amount of food, and it's like 4 servings. So this is my dinner for the next couple of days. But they're so good.
I know exactly what pack you're talking about. I see them all the time.
Yeah, I'd never seen them before. So,
dude, have you tried the what is it, beef bolognese one that they have in that area?
Beef? Oh, you mean the bulgogi beef?
Or is that it?
The beef bulgogi. It's like a Korean type of
no.
Sauce.
This one is just meat, onion, basically meat
getting
and
hungry.
I haven't. No.
I've tried it. It's so delicious, and it makes for a great meal prep if you like throw it over on the skillet, and then you can either put it over rice or pasta. You're golden.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, I am legitimately hungry now. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
So, segueing out of that delicious sounding food chat, we were talking about the Good Dinosaur. And his fight for food at times, huh? What a struggle for that guy.
Struggle was real for that guy.
But Jen, why don't you go ahead and tell us why you picked this movie, other than you saw it and you're like, that looks good.
Okay. Now I know you guys are excited to be like, it chose me. But okay, this made me work a little bit. We had to work for this one a little bit. So at first, I was at work and my coworker mentioned Little Rascals. And then I was like, you know what? I don't think I've actually ever seen that movie. And so I was like, that would be a good pick. And so I went to find it. And by went to find it, I went to Disney. It wasn't there, and I gave up. And then then it showed me like,
Wonder why your freezer's lost.
Oh man.
So I gave up. And then it showed me suggestions. And then I saw blank check, and I was like, ooh, blank check. And then right under, I was like, that's a good one. And then under it, I was like, oh, but I like dinosaurs. And I get really excited because that's like a new thing. I'm so hungry.
I love this so much. Keep going, Jen.
This is okay. So
Welcome to Jen's mind right here.
So I realized while living by myself that I really like dinosaurs. But not like dinosaurs, but little baby dinosaurs, you know what I mean? Like little cartoon dinosaurs. So I was like, I gotta respect the dinosaurs. And so I chose that one. Oh, but before I did, I was like, oh, The Land Before Time. And that wasn't playing either. So then I was like, all right, The Good Dinosaur.
I love it. The Good Dinosaur. Yes, it definitely picked you. And as I'm sure Brian's going to get into with his fun facts, perfect timing. I was mentioning it to you before the show got started, but just perfect timing for this movie. Yeah. Initial
I planned
thoughts.
You can tell. Plan that.
She may struggle getting to her pies in the freezer, but she knows when to pick a movie.
That was quite the whirlwind of how you got to the movie.
I mean, that was an adventure, much like what we're going to talk about.
I truly love how it started with somebody mentioned the Little Rascals, like, ooh, that'd be good. So I looked for it. I didn't find it. I gave up. But then
no, I like the progression of it goes from somebody mentioned this movie to I respect dinosaurs, like like that, like what happened in between.
As you should. Dinosaurs are not to be messed with.
The only cartoon dinosaur.
And yes, you brought up Land Before Time, so throwbacks. But does anybody want to go first for thoughts and score? All right, thanks, Brian.
Yeah, no problem. I always give you guys a chance.
Well, I'm trying to not make it me, considering I've already been doing majority of the talking at this point.
All right. Well, The Good Dinosaur is actually one movie that I had not seen before, and I also know that no one really talks about it either. It's like one of like the most untalked about Pixar movies. I don't think if you were to have give me your top 5 Pixar, this name is never in the conversation ever. And I mean, I can see why. It is a good movie, but if you compare it to Disney Pixar movies, this is really at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to, unfortunately, what Pixar has provided us with additional movies. It's just like when you have that same name brand, you almost you have a certain expectation. Like I have a Pixar expectation. If I see Pixar, I expect certain things from them because of the brand imaging and movie making that they've already done for us. And like I said, just comparing this one, it just doesn't meet the Pixar mark for me at all. And doing the research definitely kind of helped me realize like what had happened and everything. And we'll go over that shortly. But yeah, like I said, it's an okay movie. I felt that there were great moments that were far and few in between this movie, where most of the time on movies from Pixar, it is just moment after moment after moment after, it's just dialed in and it's just so strong. Where this one, it's like, oh wow, this, you guys got it going, and then it drag, and then we got it going again, and then it drag, and we got it going again. And so it was just like sprinkles of greatness. And I think it's going to be a really, really fun one to unpack. I definitely brought a couple of head scratchers, nitpicks and things. The one thing that really stood out to me, though, the most was the animation of like land and earth. It was absolutely incredible just seeing the way that they did the waterfalls and the plains and I mean just Mother Nature. The way that it was animated was unreal. I was blown away by how good it looked. Overall, though, to me, this was just a straight down the middle C movie. I'm giving a 3.5.
Wow. Okay. Strong feelings. Hey, Nick, would you like to go next, or you want me?
Yeah,
to take
I was about to.
Yeah, man. I saw you had walked away for obvious needs.
What if he like jumped through his little opening? Like, hi guys.
just dives over the bar, does a perfect little tuck and roll, and pops out behind the
behind the couch. Yeah.
Yes. If only you were a gymnast, Nick.
Maybe I am. I've just never told you. All right. The Good Dinosaur. This is one that I actually never even heard about. But yeah, kind of like what Brian said, like nobody talks about it, and maybe that's why I've never heard about it. But this is a really nice feel-good movie.
Is it?
Like it really gets your feelings and emotions going in terms of like the good and like sad and happy and everything. So yeah, I did cry a couple times. Not too many, but just a few.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Hey, and if I cried during a movie, I tell you guys, like I don't hold back on that.
I too. I'd tell you too, but I just don't cry.
But and so like there's a lot of sentiment and a lot of like family and relationships and like bonding with characters, and like all of that is done really well. I just think the story is kind of lackluster. Like it's just kind of there's not really a whole lot going on, and so like at times it was just kind of slow or kind of boring or not like as Disney as it could be. And but what kept me watching was just the kind of the adventure, the scenery. It was very much like Lake Tahoe, like that's what the whole world reminded me of. And the other thing too that kind of didn't really sit well with me was while the animation of the environment is really, really well done, I just feel like the characters are too like cartoony for that environment. Like they're too rounded, they're too like smooth and like curvy, and it just doesn't match the really good realistic environment that they're in. And I kind of wish that they had, taken the environment to look more fantastical and cartoony, or they had the characters or the animals look realistic looking to kind of match the to tie it all together. It was almost like they had two different teams. Like one team was to make the environment and the other team was to make the characters. And then when they merged them together for the first time, they were like, oh, interesting. Well, we don't have time to change it because this ships tomorrow. So it's kind of what it feels like. And so, yeah.
And the environment looks so real that by it looking so real, it makes the characters look even more cartoony.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, it's got to be one over the other. Make everything look cartoony or everything look realistic.
Yeah.
But like with those couple things aside, it is a nice watch. It makes you feel good, especially, towards the end. There's a lot of sentiment. But overall, my score is a 3.9.
Okay, 3.9. So this is a movie that I have known about and have never actually gotten to watch all the way through. I've seen bits and parts of it, but never the whole thing. So this was nice to sit down and just watch this movie as basically a whole new film to me. And I really enjoyed it. It's not a complicated story, but it's a beautiful story. And like you guys keep saying, visually, it is absolutely stunning. The animation, the backgrounds are incredible. I agree with you guys what you're saying of how the characters they stand out a little bit too much. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was very emotional. I like that it's kind of an interesting retelling of, a boy and his dog type of story. It's got a lot of like White Fang feel to it. So it's not an unfamiliar story. It's one that, we've seen done many times before, different iterations. I think, was it like My Dog Skip kind of deals, like any of those kind of things of typically period pieces. Like this felt at times like a Western. It had some really good themes to it. And what was that?
Homeward Bound.
To a degree. Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of like Lost down the river kind of movies too, right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like this story is not complicated, and like you guys are saying, I think that's kind of its biggest flaw. Which Brian, I'm sure you'll get into with the fun facts, but there is some complicated history with this movie and it getting made, and I think that ultimately attributes to why it's not a better Pixar film. And it's because I think Pixar is known for its stories, right? Like the animation at this point it's always impressive and it keeps getting more and more impressive. That's like a given. They literally improve every time they make anything. But it's the story that keeps us coming back. It's not the fact that it just looks amazing. Like that's part of it, but it's the stories. And this one kind of fails on that. But I think looking at it as like an art piece, like this is a beautiful creative story that I think was puzzle pieced together, which we'll get into in a really good way to make a cohesive emotional story that I think we all can kind of connect to and feel something from. But I don't know, it may not just connect that well with a lot of people. And I'm looking forward to finding out why more people didn't like this movie. I think that's the biggest thing when you hear about this movie from Pixar fans is like, oh, it's the worst Pixar movie ever. It's the worst. It's the absolute worst. And it's like, I don't agree with that. Not to say that I think there are like tons of really bad Pixar movies, and I don't want to get into that argument yet or at all, but I don't think this is a terrible movie at all. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was beautiful and it made me emotional. I definitely teared up at the end got me, but I also think that it falls flat at the end. So I think there's going to be a lot to discuss about this movie. I'm really looking forward to this chat. Even with my tired brain, I'm going to have some things to say. But I think I'm hitting this one with the highest score right now, and I'm giving it a 4.55. I really like this movie, and I know that it's not an overly complicated story, but I don't think that necessarily takes away from the art of it.
All right. Well said, everybody. My turn. So I had never seen this movie, never heard of this movie. And as you guys heard how I picked it. And I really enjoy this movie. I think I cried like 70 to 80% of it. I was like, oh, and it's funny because like as soon as it started and the music was playing, I was like, this movie's gonna make me cry. Like I just felt it. I was like, I'm gonna cry. I just didn't know I'd cry that much. And to be honest, because of like there's like multiple like messages, life messages in this movie, and that kind of like overpowered actually looking at it. So I know it was like I remember like seeing the background and being like, it's really pretty, but like I was focused more so on like the story and not so much what it looked like or what it sounded like, because it's very powerful. And like I said, there's multiple different lessons that you can take from it, all in this one little dinosaur's life. And I thought it was so beautifully done. And for that, I'm giving it the highest rating. And it sucks because like, okay, I watched it a couple days ago and it doesn't last long up here. It just doesn't. So I'm going to do my very best. I forgot why I took off the 0.1%, but I give it a 4.9.
Okay. I'm sure we'll discover what that
we'll come up with why. Yeah. I think it might have been like I think the only thing I can really think of is like I kept getting like it was trying to be like the Lion King in some aspects and falling short of it. Like you just can't be the Lion King.
Please save that because
there's
please save it because it's in my nitpicks.
Yeah, that might have been the thing. I was like, oh, don't you take that. So we'll get into it for sure.
Yeah. I am lots to talk on that. But before we do, I we're gonna send it over to Nick for his song, but
Did everyone play the video he sent
I
us?
did. I absolutely did. And if I'm not mistaken, is it not the same song that Brian used in the post?
Oh, is it? I didn't get to listen.
It's a very
is it Walk
similar
the
one.
Dinosaur?
Oh no, this is Kesha's Dinosaur.
Okay, similar.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
Everybody walk the dinosaur.
Yeah, I was wrong. But at the same time, Nick, I am offended that you would imply or infer that we are too old to know this Kesha song.
Oh, I know Kesha.
Exactly, that's my point. It's like you guys probably never heard this song before. So I sent you this link so you know what I'm referencing in my song.
How many parties we went to and Kesha was blaring? Come on.
I'm just saying. This is.
I wasn't saying that you were too.
This is why
I wasn't saying that you were too old. I wasn't saying that you were too old to know. It just it's not like a top Kesha hit. But
that's everybody who has heard Kesha has heard Kesha. So head out your ass and
if you haven't, you better catch up.
Yeah, wise up, youngin, because that was a great fucking pun.
All right, then.
I am looking forward to the song. But I did want to try and take the little wind out of your sails for that one.
Oh man, that's funny. Okay, well, note for the future, never to send messages like that again. Okay. And not just assume.
I'm just saying anything can be met with confrontation, so be careful.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was gonna comment back like, okay, Nick, I don't know movies, but I know my music. But then I was like, gonna be like, but what if I don't? I better shut up. But I did know it. Damn it.
I listened to the whole song too. That was the best part. I clicked the link and it's just like, I'm not stopping this.
All right. Here we go. F-U-N-F-A-C-T, you're a fun fact. F-U-N-F-A-C-T, you're a fun fact. F-U-M-A-T-T-K-U-G-L-E-R. F-U-M-A-T-T-K-U-G-L-E-R. You're just an old man talking shit about you, what? Let's hear some fun facts.
At first, I was like, what the heck is he spelling?
Oh boy.
Well done, Nick. I gave you the applause. Good.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Well, all right. Good one. Good one, sir.
Well,
fun facts. Bring it on, Brian.
That was.
Can you
say the
lyrics for that one?
I don't know if that was a rap or a drunk ass spelling bee. I'm still trying to figure it out.
He didn't quit though. That was the best part. Like he totally committed to this bit of like I'm spelling literally everything.
Well, I don't know if you got like
you made fun of me.
The subliminal in
fun of me.
The F-U-M-A-T-T, like fuck you, Matt.
Yeah,
you got it.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
You use that in a sentence. All right. The Good Dinosaur comes out in 2015. Currently streaming on Disney Plus right now.
What?
Yeah. So let's go into fun facts about the adventure of the Chucky version of a dinosaur, if anyone knows Rugrats. All right. It is directed by Peter Sohn, and he has directed 3 movies. One of them is The Good Dinosaur. Another one is Partly Cloudy. Is it just Partly Cloudy?
Is
But
it
they're
Partly Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? Oh, it's a short.
It's Oh, it is a short. Yeah, just Partly Cloudy the short. So I guess we'll call it.
Cloudy the short.
We'll,
It's a
we'll
short
call
film.
that a movie. Sure. I mean, it's
That sounds like an indie rock band.
length doesn't matter.
He still directed a short film. You gotta
And the movie just came out this year. Actually, really good movie. If you haven't had time to check it out yet, it's called Elemental.
Ooh.
No, okay, so
I
that's
have
also
not seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet.
also on Disney Plus.
Streaming?
It is streaming. Yes,
Oh shit! Then I do need to watch. I didn't know it was
No,
on Disney Plus yet.
that one's a good one, and if I remember that, it's Pixar as well.
I
Really?
believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
No.
So he directed that one as well, and I watched it one time, but I'm like, okay, this movie was good, really entertaining. It's basically, if anyone doesn't know, it's about the four elements of life: fire, water, wind, and earth.
About love.
But mostly it's about fire and water. Those are the two big ones, and I'm not going to ruin anything else, but it's a really good one.
Sounds like Avatar, but
Do they
No,
discover the fifth element? Love.
It's not it's not about Avatar. It's not like Avatar.
Come on. I don't want to watch this movie anymore, Peter. You failed yet again. No. No, really good to know that it's on Disney Plus. I did want to see this one.
Yeah, it's streaming on Disney Plus. I'm glad I didn't go to the theater for it, but it's on.
See,
It's on
I feel weird going to some Pixar movies by myself as an adult. So sometimes there are certain movies I'm like, you know, I probably just shouldn't go to this movie alone. I don't think I'm a particularly creepy looking dude, but you know, the fact that I wear glasses and have some facial hair at times, I'm like, yeah, it's probably not the best vibe to be sending around a children's movie.
All right. The cast. The mom, also titled as Mama, voice is Frances McDormand. Probably, I'd say that's probably one of the bigger names of it.
Oh,
I mean, there is another one if you want me to drop it
we'll
right
fight
now.
you on this. I've got at least two offhand, and you're gonna. I mean, no offense to Francis, but usually the biggest name. Come on, dude.
All right. You think Francis isn't as big as Sam Elliott?
Of course I do, but you're also forgetting Jeffrey Wright.
I know, and there's Jeffrey Wright as well. Yes.
Well,
Who
Anna
plays
Paquin.
Papa?
Yes.
Sam
Jen's
Elliott is
Jen's got something
Butch,
to say.
the T-Rex.
Something to say.
Go ahead, John.
I'm gonna say I've heard the name Sam Elliott before. I've never heard of Francis, so I'm gonna go with he's bigger.
All right, fair enough. I will say the T-Rex totally looked like Sam Elliott. Great job.
It
Dude,
looked
Sam Elliott has he's that voice. Are you
Oh,
kidding?
the voice, right? I know.
As that T-Rex, it's like, hell yeah, dude. He's got that. It's like James Earl Jones with that growl. It's like Sam, you were made to be a freaking T-Rex.
Does anyone have anyone else that they'd like to mention, or a character in the movie that stood out to them, or anything, and we can talk about who the voice was? Go ahead, Matt.
You dropped that comments and I'm like, I'm taking offense to it. So
It's like the teacher, like anybody, anyone else?
it's me or nobody, Mr. Brian. Well, so I want to shout out to Steve Zahn. I always love Steve Zahn being and stuff, and he's the buzzer. I don't know which kind of
It's Thunderclap.
Thunderclap, yes. I don't want to guess what kind of dinosaur he is because I couldn't begin to tell you, and I'm not going to open myself up to like,
Nope.
oh, clearly that's not this because it's this. You're a freaking idiot. Like I am an idiot. I don't know dinosaurs. I'm not going to pretend I do.
Listen, Ross isn't here. It's a safe space, Matt. Go for it.
With Ross in the universe, it's never a safe space to talk about dinosaurs. He's got unagi, and he could sneak up on you at any point.
Just don't take a sandwich.
I'll take his sandwich. That's true.
My
Yeah.
sandwich.
Yeah, no. I think I could end up on
My
sabbatical for another
sandwich.
year. That poor dude. Oh, what a wonderful time to bring up the moist maker. But yes. So Steve's on. Back on target. Steve's on, and I believe Anna Paquin was she was the T-Rex, the daughter. I don't know what their names were. I'm gonna look it up real fast.
Ramsey,
and I don't know Nash.
But
AJ Buckley was the voice of Nash, the other T-Rex.
Nash. Yep.
I don't recognize him. That doesn't mean I don't know him from stuff, but he was a fun one too. Like they had some good T-Rex energy. And Anna Paquin, who I don't really know for being much of like a growly, intimidating character, although I never saw True Blood, but I mean, what do I know? She wasn't very intimidating as Rogue, so I thought she pulled off being a vicious T-Rex who chewed off her own tail because she needed to survive. Like, I bought it. Yeah, there's a couple of people to throw out there. Just to highlight Frances McDermott, though. I don't know what any of you might recognize her from. I don't know what you recognize her from, Brian. But as I was going through her list, the one that like really shouted out to me was Madeline. She's the nun. Miss something. Oh God. See, now I'm embarrassed. I can't remember her name. But did anybody else watch the live action Madeline as a kid?
No.
Really? Miss Clavel.
I even watched the cartoon.
Clavel. Miss Clavel. What was it, Jen?
I don't think I even saw like the cartoon of it.
Oh man. Oh yeah, Madeline. It's such a great movie. Oh, wow. Okay. I think if I find this one streaming, I just got to introduce it to you guys as a like, hey, this is a piece of my childhood. I don't care what you think, but this was important to me as a kid. But moving on from that devastation, anybody else have any thoughts before I give it back to Brian and I shut up for a good minute?
Well, I have a thought that maybe I need to start putting you interrupting Brian back into my lyrics.
He started it with expressing opinions during fun facts.
Hey, I always give the option to talk about actors and actresses or characters that stood out. Like it's just part of our show, guys.
It's
actually Matt
gave me permission.
Matt does have a point. We just want the facts, Brian.
Just the facts.
Just the facts.
All right. So ratings. We're giving this one 4.21.
Yeah. Thanks, Jen.
Out of 5. 4.21. Roger Letterbox is 2.8 out of 5. Ouch. IMDb is 6.7 out of 10.
Those are bad.
Just hating on this one. And Roger Ebert wasn't even available. There was no rating on the Good Dinosaur on the Roger Ebert website.
Raj, what a loser.
Tough on the ratings on this one.
I mean, 6.7. That's not terrible.
Out of 10?
That's like 3.3 out of 5.
67%.
I mean, Brian, you were at 3.5?
Yeah, that's 70%.
Yeah, so IMDb is like, what, 3.35 out of 5? If you were to convert that? It's not far off. Right? Is my math right?
Your math is off.
6.7.
3.5 out of 5 is like saying 7 out of 10.
Right, but 6.7 is like 3.35.
Yeah.
Could you please phone in to 555-1234 and give us your take on the math that we are trying to assess in this situation?
Give us your opinion on what the answer is.
Don't forget to subscribe.
And smash that like button.
All right. The budget was $200 million and worldwide gross is $332.2 million.
Wow. That's not bad.
So they still snaked out a pretty good profit.
Mm-hmm.
Oscars are none, and Golden Globes was one nominee for, if I remember, I think it was Best Motion Picture, honestly. Let me double check that.
Animated motion picture, right?
Best Motion Picture animated nominated.
What was it competing up against?
Let's see. What a wonderful question, Nick. Gotta find it. Always gotta find it.
So we're hiring a tech guy to be our background web browser operator.
The
Starting pay is free 99 an hour.
All right. So your answers are nominated, all 5 of them. The Peanuts movie, Inside Out, Shaun the Sheep movie, The Good Dinosaur, and Melissa. I don't know.
It's definitely Inside Out, that one. I'm sure. That's my guess.
Got a 1 for Inside Out.
I'm trying to remember them all.
The Peanuts movie, Shaun the Sheep movie.
Sheep movie.
Were you gonna say Shaun of the Dead?
I think I said Shaun of the Sheep on the first one.
Shaun the Sheep movie, Peanuts movie. Inside Out.
Anna Melissa and Meliza.
Yeah, I'm just gonna guess since you can't say it that it's probably not.
That's not it. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I would probably guess that it was Inside Out then. I don't think the Peanuts movie got too much respect, especially since they're making it again.
All right, and yeah, it is Inside Out.
Nice.
Yeah,
I figured.
Another hockey
no
movie
contest.
takes home the gold.
Okay, let's get into the 65 million years of facts on this one.
Oh boy, we're gonna be here a while.
Yeah. Get situated.
Day 1.
Year 1.
6,500 million.
Just put my
ago.
nose in the dirt, and now I've got 50 lines ready for planning. Okay. This one's, the Good Dinosaur really struggled a little bit. All right. It was in production for 6 years. And it had gone through a couple directors. One of them just up and left, and then Peter Son took over. It was pushed back for a little movie called Frozen.
Oh.
So it's originally supposed to be released in 2013, and then they're like, we're going to put Frozen in that spot because we can't wait. And I mean, I'm not going to say that it wasn't the wrong move to do. I think they knew what they had with Frozen, and they advanced it.
They looked at the Good Dinosaur in that release date and said, "Hey, let it go."
Nice. Yeah, there was definitely some creative differences. There was, what else? There was actually an original cast that none of them are part of, but at one point you would have had John Lithgow, and if you don't know him by name, you certainly know him by face. I can promise you that. You would have Neil Patrick Harris. You would have Bill Hader, Judy Greer, and Lucas Neff, all in this movie. And with the complications of how we're going to write the story and the creative differences and the pushback of dates, they're just like, yeah, we're out. We're done with this. And so they had to basically scrap and start from scratch and recast and everything. Arlo was supposed to be older, and then they actually made him a lot younger, realizing that this would impact the story a little bit more. I think Frances McDormand was the only cast member that was in the discussion in the beginning and actually stayed for the final product. So good for her. But yeah, there were some struggles. What else? This is the first time Pixar released 2 movies in the same year. We already spoke what the other one was. It's Inside Out. So that alone, I think, maybe shot him in the foot a little bit because Inside Out came out first, and Inside Out versus The Good Dinosaur is just like Inside Out just blows The Good Dinosaur out of the water, in terms of which one's better. If any Disney fan knows that there's Easter eggs all over the place, I couldn't find any of these. So whoever found these,
Don't you mean dinosaur eggs?
Yeah. I don't know if you don't have a life or what, but good job. Easter egg number 1, or we'll say dinosaur egg number 1. The Pizza Planet truck was in the shape of an asteroid was in the shape of a Pizza Planet truck.
What the heck?
Well, if you think about it, I mean, humans don't exist, cars don't exist, no one really exists except for, I guess, humans kind of exist, but they're not humans at this point, right?
I'd say that.
And so no one's driving. So how do you put the Pizza Planet truck in the movie? And so they're like, well, let's just shape it into an asteroid.
I mean, good on them.
Yeah, good on them.
That's how the first one was, going to arrive on Earth.
Exactly. Dino egg number 2, the Luxo ball, is seen during the hallucination scene.
Oh, I meant to look for that one too.
The what ball?
The Luxo.
The ball that the lamp jumps on.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the Luxo ball.
I didn't know that had a name.
That's all right. I always call it the Toy Story ball, Nick. Don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Well, Luxo is the name of the light.
Mm.
And then Dino egg number 3, A113. It's a well-known. It's in every Pixar movie. It's I think we talked about this in Finding Nemo, but it's to give the animation studio a shout out. Apparently, it's on a fence of the bird pen.
Oh, I did see that.
Oh, well, good for you, because I did not see it and I was looking for it.
Yeah, it was like etched in. Like somebody had took like a knife or like a rock and like etched it.
Yeah, they're really good at just kind of giving the small little details in there. All right. Spot was drawn as a dog, then added human features.
Interesting.
That's not surprising, actually.
No.
No.
All right. So one other thing that we know about Pixar is these guys are not afraid to go above and beyond when it comes to doing research and basically making things look as real as possible, sound as real as possible. And the crew definitely did not disappoint on this one. They did a lot of things. The first thing that they did is they went whitewater rafting for research and to see what it was like on the rivers and to see what rushing water does and all that stuff. In the midst of their research project, they accidentally dropped their GoPro into the whitewater rapids and was able to recover it with the GoPro filming the whole time.
Wow.
They were able to then use that footage for specific scenes that I'm sure we will be talking about later. How crazy is that?
That's awesome.
Cool.
They also, what did they also do? They also studied elephants to mimic the movement of an elephant movement to put in as this is probably the closest dinosaur movement that we can get. And finally, they visited Wyoming and Montana to study the land to make sure.
With that place.
What?
I said Matt's familiar with that place.
Yeah, so they went there to study the land to make sure that everything was as realistic as possible. And some of the layouts of the land are actually real life layouts in either Wyoming or Montana. This is Pixar's 16th feature film. 16, guys. And it all started from Toy Story. Man, what a journey, huh?
How many? And so is it? How many years?
This was in 2015.
No. So how? So oh yeah. So how many years?
I keep forgetting when Toy Story came out.
Toy Story came out in 94, 95, 95.
5?
Was that?
94. 94 or 95. It's either the same year as Gump or the year after Gump. I think it's the year after Gump. I want to say 95.
1 second.
I thought it was like
95.
Okay.
Wow.
95. So, and this one came out in 2015. So,
creeping up on 30 years.
That's 10 years. No, I'm sorry. That's 20 years. Can't add right now. And they're at 16, so they're just shy of one a year. And then, you know, we're now 8 years.
I mean, we're almost to 30 years. Like we're
very close to 30 years of Pixar, and I don't know what number they're at, but I mean, we just talked about Elemental just came out this year. Coco hasn't come out yet, so there's probably a couple more than I'm not thinking of. I don't know how many total Pixar movies that they're at, but they're killing it. They're killing it. I said that one. Okay, Arlo is an Apatosaurus.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
I would have said Brontosaurus.
Brontosaurus, yeah.
That's what my guess would have been, but I'm like, sure.
Because that's the long-necked dinosaur like all
the only one I know. I mean, either I can call it a little footosaurus. Like, what do you want from me?
It's a freaking cartoon dinosaur. Give me a break.
I said that. Okay, John Ratzenberger shows up in every single Pixar movie.
Yeah. Who was
he? He had one line in this movie. And it was, "We kill him."
Was it one of the birds?
No, it was one of the rustlers.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Remember when he's on the rock and everything, and he's like,
he's the one.
He's the one that jumps up and says, "We kill him." That's John.
Where you had like the 3 that were like purple or whatever, and you had the one that was blue. He was the blue guy, like just because we got to make him stand out. Oh my god!
And I was like, that doesn't even sound like him, like at all.
He's doing some southern
It's by far one of his smallest roles in a Pixar movie. And then the last one is the Clawtooth Mountains are inspired by the Grand Tetons. If anyone is familiar with them.
That's where I was. I stayed at the Tetons. Like I was there. That was literally a Teton village.
Did it look like the Clawtooth Mountains? I
mean, a bit, I guess. Okay. You let me consort my photographs as Nick has his hand up.
The middle, or like any one of the mountains by themselves, it reminded me of the Matterhorn at Disneyland.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I got. I was like, there's 3 Matterhorns next to each other.
But there's 3. What's a Matterhorn with this picture?
So
nice.
Anyway, that's all I was able to conjure up for you guys. But yeah, it's kind of sad that they had just so much production issues and you know, I think I said it and Nick said it as well. It's like the story is just very lackluster, and you can tell that it was just a matter of we have way too many cooks in the kitchen at this point, and I don't think they really got the general grasp as to what they were doing, and you know, poor Peter. I mean, just being brought in on like the kind of last minute, and then just even to save the picture in itself is probably a task at hand. But you could just tell that the flow was definitely off on this one. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, just based on everything we talked about during the production process, like that stuff shows in your movie. Like how like the timing of production, how long it takes to make it, and the different people that are involved. If people leave and then you have to recast or get new directors, like that, those decisions show in the final product, and that's why I tend to believe that that maybe the animators did the scenery, before the Frozen movie, and then maybe there was animators that did the characters like post Frozen. I mean, I don't know if I'm right about that. We'll never know, but it feels like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all look at the photo.
I sent you guys pictures as they're looking, Nick, of the Teton Mountains.
Oh, it does a little bit look like it.
It's panoramic, so I think I caught pretty much the entire mountain range. But it does have like the spikes, and I want to say that some of it is actually kind of hidden. There was some cloud coverage, like they're pretty big, but they do have kind of like that. Kind of, well, they've got those. They do have kind of like those sharp tooth kind of points to them.
Yeah.
Sharp tooth.
Yeah.
I'll put this photo up on the screen when I edit this together.
Does anyone have anything else, or
just because we were talking about like the whole changeovers and everything with it, I big shout out to is it Peter is the director?
Yeah, Peter Son.
Yeah.
Peter Son.
For this to be kind of like, hey, you've done a short film with us, boom, we're putting you on this after it's been an absolute disaster of making it happen. Like I big shout out to him for his contributions and figuring out, okay, we're going to make this into a story. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that I have knowing that information was this movie went through a lot. And I think Brian, you mentioned it too, that you can see that it's been through a lot of hands. Like there's hints of this, hints of that. And you can see those influences, those different influences, but he pieced it all together. He came up with something that I think is really good, really beautiful. And although it is, yes, a simple story, it, like you said, Jen, it's powerful and it's beautiful. So kudos to him for coming into a sinking ship and getting it to shore.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are now at the memory.
Yeah.
Memory of the movie.
They're flashing like crazy right now.
The movie memory.
I mean, I got it already. It's the first thing that came to mind.
That's how it's supposed to be. And
exactly. That's how it works.
Scenes are flashing, so don't stop yourself. Go ahead, Nick.
Do we title it? I forgot.
No, you just say what it is.
Say what it is.
If you don't have to title it unless you want to.
Okay, but we're not allowed to talk about it, right? Is that?
I don't know, Brian. What are the rules?
So we can say what it is, but we can't talk about it, right? Is that?
Well, now it's complicated.
These are the real social issues.
I don't think we should stop the rant. It's not about the scene. It's just telling us what it is that you think of.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just say what it is. It's when Spot and Arlo are essentially talking about their stick family.
Oh yeah.
They're but specifically it's when Spot like has the two parents and he knocks them down and buries them. Like I was not expecting that to happen at all, and I just like that really got me. And then Arlo then one-upped it and like put his dad's stick down. And I was like, man, so sad. Yeah, that's my memory. My first memory. Yeah.
How great. I'll go next. Mine's the Firefly.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's a good one.
With with his dad.
Yeah.
Fireflies with it.
Fireflies with dad. For me, it's when he is he's running with the T-Rex and he's sent off to stop them before they split off, and it's just kind of like him taking charge for the first time. The reason that one like sticks with me though is because that was one of the scenes that I'd seen before watching this movie. So like it was kind of a moment that I got to relive, and with the context, it felt a little more impactful. And it was really nice. And like from that point on, it really is a turning moment for him where he splits off from the T-Rex and he's on his own. But he has faith in himself. So it's a good little moment.
All right, mine is a very, very quick moment in the movie, and I did give it a title because of just how freaking amazing it is, and I called it Jaws in the Sky.
Yeah.
Just so
brilliant,
so creative. We'll talk about it later, but that when I think of Good Dinosaur, that's the first image that comes to mind.
That was good.
We're all different. I like it.
Just to clarify for Jen, it's when the flying guys are in the storm clouds and all you can see are their beaks poking through.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, that's not what I thought. I thought you were talking about when the tidal wave of the river.
And he has that PTSD.
Big teeth like comes in.
No.
Oh.
No, it's when they made the birds look like sharks in the sky. I was like, that's
Gotcha.
freaking creep. Like I said, we'll talk about it later, but man,
brilliant.
Just so creative.
Yeah, that was a cool moment.
Yeah.
We are at the beginning, and what better place to start than the very beginning? 65 million years ago. Did anybody else read that title and just hear it in like that Friends the voiceover 6,500 million, I think it's just 65 million years ago. 65 million, like that's, I heard that in my head.
Yep.
Who says it?
And no, it doesn't. It's just the title. It just says 65 million years ago. But in my head, reading it, that's the voice I heard it in. And this is like a fun way of like introducing like, okay, this is the story Asteroid Misses, which also is the trailer for this movie. Like that was kind of like the teaser was, what if the asteroid that, killed all the dinosaurs didn't? And it's kind of a flimsy which also that doesn't make sense. What about Earth's gravitational pull? There'd be some curvature to this, but we're not gonna nitpick science on this one. It's not worth it. This is a hypothetical side history of the world. But I was a little thinking about how this movie is advertised, because I know you guys don't watch trailers and all that stuff. You don't really remember it. It's very flimsy like premise to the advertisement. Like this opening scene was really how they advertise it. It's like, cool, that gives me nothing. And then it had some clips. So there was no way to tell what the story was really going to be like from the advertisements, but a fun way to start it. And then you get your cute opening with a few million years later, they've evolved. Here we are. They did a great job. I really love how they just established it. They also explain like there's some time that has passed to allow this to be how that is. And here we are. So what did you guys think? Like, I mean, for setting up this movie, going in blind, knowing nothing, how did you guys like it? Go ahead, Nick.
I don't know. I might be the only one that says this, but I don't know if it was really necessary to kind of set that up. Like they could have just started with a fade in with the family of dinosaurs. Yeah.
I totally agree. Like that's kind of my argument with that basically being the advertising for this movie. It's like, okay, why include that in the movie? Like that's just a perfect little what if situation you've created there, and leave it at that. Tell me what the movie is. And so, yeah, I'm with you, Nick.
it's not that it was bad or anything. It just didn't seem necessary but when I saw that whole opening sequence, it really got me to think that like, oh, like we're really like going places. Like we're going like it's like universal, like we're looking at other planets and like asteroids and stuff. And um but then they just kind of bring it all back to, a little farm run by dinosaurs. And I'm like, he could have just started there. I don't know. It just didn't seem necessary. That's all.
That's fair. Any other thoughts?
I mean, I didn't care. I could take it or leave it.
Oh.
Whatever.
Like I think all it really needed was just like maybe just show the year, just show the current year. Like that would have been enough.
Well, this is something that I would argue is just unnecessary a lot of the times. Why do you need to establish any kind of year? Like this movie is called The Good Dinosaur. Leave it at that. Open your movie and just tell the story. Why do you have to clarify? Why do you have to specify like, okay, this is what happened, this is where we are now? Like, screw it. I mean, it's you don't need a year. You don't need to know it's a year, what year it is, to know that dinosaurs are basically, human beings at this point. They've evolved to this point. You don't need that. You what does it matter? Go ahead, Nick.
And just even to add to that too, like if they're trying to have this like realism or like realistic sort of angle of like trying to be accurate with the years and like the asteroids and all that kind of stuff, then you cut to like a dinosaur family that farms, which is totally realistic, not. So it's just kind of weird how they mix like realism and not realism together. It's just kind of funny.
But it sounds like they did that throughout the whole movie, like even how it looks too. So it just was a constant struggle for them, I think, of like how real should we make this and how fantastical should we make it.
Yeah. And they like teeter, they teeter back and forth.
Yeah. I do think that the going along with that, like it does a great job of like the scenery, right? Like that's what it does a great job of right off the bat, is establishing that it is a beautiful world, and it looks really good. And I think that it highlights, you remember when we did Dances with Wolves, and like one of the things that he says is hey, I wanted to see the frontier, like the last frontier before it's all gone. Right. That's kind of what this movie gives me visually, is this is what the land would look like if dinosaurs evolved to they've got technology and things, but there's no industrial revolution or anything yet. So there's no vehicles. There's no, like, it's just, they have irrigation systems, farming systems, and like they've established survival and societies, but the land itself is still preserved and beautiful. And that's something that they highlight so well with the animations. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Now, did I mishear you? Did you just say dinosaurs have technology?
I can't say exactly what I said. So like,
I think you said, I mean, they have technology still, but
they do have technology. I mean, it's
but they don't have cars.
They do have technology. Like that. It's not like
technology doesn't mean electronics.
They can use tools. They have.
Got it.
They have things. It's not like, electronics is not technology. I mean, it is, but like, so is a pulley system, right? Like a wheel and spoke. It's technology. So they have things.
Like you could argue that the first bit of technology was like the handle, was like the tool, the handle of something. Like that was the first piece of tech to ever exist from like the Neanderthals, era of Earth. So we've had technology for millions of years.
The guy made a complex trap with rope and rocks. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's more of physics. That's pulley systems and
that is what technology is. Like, you're confusing like high tech with technology.
okay. I never knew that was technology.
Same. I'm looking up the definition.
Like
Alright.
tools was the first technology ever created. You know, wrapping like a rock to a stick to make a hammer. Like that's technology.
All right, I want to be proven wrong. Like Jen's busting out the Google machine. I think we're right though, Nick. I'm feeling pretty confident with this. But
You are right. Yeah. It says like machinery and equipment developed from the application of scientific knowledge.
physics, bitch.
Good job, guys.
Science, bitch.
Or the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes, especially in industry. So, wow, I never knew that. That's cool.
Look up what was the first piece of technology?
The
That's
first,
what I want to know.
A rock.
the first.
I'm serious. A rock. You use it as a hammer to hit something, right? Like,
I mean, I was gonna say like a sharpened stick, but
actually, no. That maybe.
Yeah, you're good. So 3.3 million years ago, the first tool.
3.3 million years ago.
The history of technology begins even before the beginning of our own species. Sharp flakes of stone used as knives and larger unshaped stones used as hammers and anvils.
We're both right. Cool.
Rocks. That's so crazy. Because like when you hear the word technology, you don't think of rocks.
No.
yeah. Like when you go camping and like you're gonna hammer your tent down and your mom's like, hey, go grab some technology.
So if you're hitting your computer with a rock, are you like double technology?
Oh, there's a term for when you fix something by like smacking it. I can't remember what it is.
What did Armageddon say?
There's a term for it.
Armageddon taught us that's how you fix everything.
Bash it with a hammer. It with a rock. Everything will work. Yeah. Anybody have anything else? I mean, we can continue on with like the start of like the actual hatching and all that stuff if you guys like, but that's up to you guys if you want to start. Consider that the start.
I love the hatching.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go into the hatch.
I felt that until you said it. Yeah, the hatching was really cute.
No, I would consider the hatching part of the beginning.
Yeah.
And then would you say like the beginning ends when they say that's Clawtooth Mountain, this is our farm, we're gonna grow it together, blah blah blah, and then it like fades, and then you see that the crops are substantially taller, and like that's the end of the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The first little like time jump.
Yeah. No, the hatching part was cool. What was his name?
Buck
cracked me up.
Buck was a little shit.
He cracked me up so much. He just comes out. First of all, he goes like four hooves. What do they have?
Feet. I don't know. Like
it's not paws, right?
Well, they're modeled after elephants. I would say an elephant's foot, right? Like,
let's go with it. So he's got 4 feet sticking out of the egg, and then he runs around and just crashes into the wall. Immediately finds a stick and just starts beating his father up. And then what actually made me laugh even more is when Arlo's trying to hatch. Buck comes, classic older brother. Yeah, that was a fun scene. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, I like how the hatching, they displayed their personality so well.
Yeah.
Like just than the hatching. Like before they even said a word, you knew how they were gonna like what their role in the story was gonna be. But yeah, he was really funny. I laughed out loud with Buck too.
It's just beating up everything.
Yeah.
I love that nothing stopped him. I mean, like even to the point where like he rolls up to him after he's finally hatched and like I think he hits him or like he's such a little shit. He's like an immediate toddler in his terrible twos. It's fantastic. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, but the question I have though is why was Arlo's egg so much bigger than the other two's egg? Because like his size was way too small for the egg to be that big. It just like I get maybe if they wanted it to kind of stand out as like the one to focus your attention on the most, but just like from a biological physical standpoint, like it just doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know if I was the only one that thought that, but or why there's an explanation. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
This feels like it was a joke that was put in with some other type of story for this guy, because you know him being the runt of the litter, right? He's terrified of everything. Like I think it's just a bad joke that somebody came up with that ultimately doesn't really land with the style of this movie. But I've got no justification for it, right? Like it's way too big. He's so tiny in that thing. It's like, well, why? Like why is his shell so big? Like it makes no sense. I just think it's a bad joke. That's it.
It should have just made it smaller than the other two.
Even extra tiny.
Yeah. But like he hasn't fully matured, or like he's like birthing early, or sorry, hatching early, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Go ahead, Jen.
Oh no, I liked it. I like that it was a big egg. And he was so little because like that already puts him in like a vulnerable position of like just being under not valued, but like just no like
Underestimated.
Maybe underestimated. Yeah, just like not pushing to the extent of like what it would be for that large egg, you know, because even the dad was like, oh, he's gonna be big, and then like when he wasn't. And I love that they didn't make the parents jerks and they weren't like, ew, go away, you know, like so I was happy for that. But like I don't know, I think it ties well with his character, because it's like he was meant for great things. You know, he was meant for great things, and it started in his big old egg and then moved out into the world. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, like, I think Jenny made me realize why it is. I think that they made the egg bigger so that the audience can think like it's gonna be a bigger dinosaur, and then they trick you to be like, oh, haha, just kidding, it's a smaller dinosaur. So I get that. That makes sense. If that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I knew it was going to be small. I had that feeling.
I like the idea of it being kind of a metaphor, like a foreshadowing of his adventure is going to lead him into a much bigger world, right? Like for the most part, they're on their farm. That's it. Like that's really all they know. They've got the lands around them for where they do whatever they do, but that's all they know. He is destined for a bigger world, and that's what happens, right? It's like he's this tiny thing in this bigger world that he's going to have to learn how to navigate. So,
well said, Brad. You said it much better than I did.
You got me there, Jen. Go, Brian.
I have a nitpick to start off with.
Bring it on.
And I just want to have the talk when when all of us are here.
Well, we're feeling okay about it.
What?
Well, we're feeling okay about it, and
yeah, exactly.
Feelings.
No, my nitpick is I titled it Lion King Playbook.
Uh,
And I was wondering if I was the only one that noticed, but apparently I'm not. um yeah, I just felt like it was too much pulling from the Lion King on multiple things. You're giving me the father son bonding at night, and instead of stars, you're giving me fireflies. But for the most part, you're
Which
pretty
is
much
that wasn't that my favorite scene from Lion King was
yeah.
when it was.
And so
two for two.
and then you have I titled the scene I titled it Heart Stopping River. But basically you're giving me the death of the dad, and I'm like, okay, I got the father son and everything, but now you're making him die, and such like really early in the movie. It's like, okay, guys, did we just watch Lion King and we're like, I have a brilliant idea for a movie? It just seems so. And then of course you have him on a journey alone, and now he's meeting people and he's trying to get home, and I'm like, there's just so much Lion King reference here. And if you're going to go, if you're going to try to like mirror it, maybe lay off a little, like take a little pieces from it. Don't try to like do the whole thing, because you're not going to beat Lion King. It's just not like, I don't know about you guys, but even the death of Papa was so dry to me. It was just, there was no, it wasn't crazy, emotional, scary, or I mean, it was just like a couple flashbacks here and there to rushing water, and then he gets hit and it's cut to black, and I'm like, the hell are we doing, guys? It was just it's just a weird, it's a weird death, and I just didn't like how much they were pulling from the Lion King. Go ahead, Jen.
I completely agree with you with the Lion King bit. When I noticed it was when he got hit at the flood. But as you brought up the other stuff, I was like, oh yeah, oh yeah. So there was even more. But I wanted, when he got hit, I was kind of hoping that like he didn't get killed off, because like it doesn't show like if he like died or not, you know. So I was like, maybe he'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was real sad when he didn't. That's bad.
They get you a little bit with that though, where
Tease you.
we don't see him. So I think that's like, this is one of those situations of whoever's hands it was in before, like it just got at it, like couldn't do it. It's just like, I don't know. Go ahead, Nick.
So here's my thoughts about the whole Lion King thing. While I was watching the movie and watching these scenes, like now us talking about it, I definitely see the connection now. But in the time of watching it, it wasn't the first thing that popped into my head.
Mm.
And I don't know if it's just because like I see differences. Like it's not. It doesn't look like it's like a frame by frame or like scene by scene, like retracing of the Lion King. But it is like a similar theme, like a similar story to like the father dying, right? But in like there was no villain that killed the father in this movie, right? It was like weather and he's water and he slipped and fell and whatever. And also that Arlo essentially got lost and is trying to find his way home, whereas like Simba purposely left, right? Like left on his own terms and made friends along the way, and then comes back. So it's yes, there are similarities, but I don't think that this movie presented itself in a way that like, oh, they're just copying the Lion King. Because when I watched it, I didn't like, the Lion King wasn't the first thing that popped into my head. So I see what you guys are saying, but I can't agree that it's like fully taking from the Lion King's playbook. So I'm like 50-50 with you.
Have you seen The Lion King?
Yeah, we just did it.
How many? How many times?
Oh, how many times? I mean, I'm sure a few times as a kid, but just the one time as an adult that we did. So,
Okay. So you
yeah.
need to watch reviews under your belt.
Oh, I'm sure you guys have like way more watches than I do for sure, obviously. But because the Lion King is still fresh in my head because we did it recently.
Well, to be honest, when they were doing the firefly scene, I was like, all right, Lion King. Like I called it immediately. And that was obviously before the death. And I'm like, oh, come on. Like that's when I shook my head. I'm like, they did not just do this.
I think it was the firefly part. That was when I was like, I hope they don't do the typical kill the parents. And they did. Well, they did one of them.
Yeah.
One parent, classic Disney.
Classic Disney.
Yeah, we won't leave you orphaned, but we're going to leave you with a big hole. You bastards. Oh. Any new scenes?
I mean, I've got a couple, but Jen, did you want to go for any scenes? Like,
I can't think of any right now.
Okay.
Well, I titled one that Nick already brought up if we want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Check out my family sticks.
Ah, that's a good one.
Is that a pun or a play on something? Like, or is it just
No, it was everyone says, hey, you want to check out my family tree?
Oh,
So I said, check out my family sticks.
I get it.
Oh my god.
I was just taking it for like literally what it is.
So remember,
Who you
in the
are.
beginning when I said like there were moments of really good scenes and greatness in this movie, and then it just kind of fizzles out. This was definitely this is Pixar saying we're still here, people. We can still do this. Like this was actually a really, really good scene when they're basically communicating, and then Arlo just gives up and he's like, you don't understand what the hell I'm saying. You're just like this scratching like they even called it a critter. You're just a critter. And the minute he does that, he goes and turns around and starts to mimic what his family is. And then Arlo had already given what his family was. It's like, you do understand. And then yeah, when they start like tipping things over and burying them, and it's like, well, that's, I gotta give it, Pixar always so creative when it comes to death. So creative. I think we talked about this during why am I blanking on the movie? What's the one when Moana? When she dies and then she turns into the stingray and everything, is just like Pixar really knows how to interpret death in a very not so abrasive and almost educational way. And it's like, you don't have to be a genius to know that they're tipping over and burying. It's like, that means that they're no longer here. And then Arlo does the same. And then he like rests his head on it. And then the Spot comes up and cuddles. It was like clearly their bonding moment. That was a very good scene. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah. What a powerful scene. It killed me. Like the whole time of everything leading up to that, it is so heavy and dark. I mean, there's not a ton of dialogue, but him getting lost, him getting the shit kicked out of him, and trying to survive with no survival instincts in that environment, like it's rough. And when they have that moment of like saying family and connecting on it, and when Spot buries those things, my heart broke. Like it was so sad. And this was a wonderful example of how this movie does a great job of telling a lot without needing dialogue. And Brian, I think you said it best. Like, what a way to kind of explain death and mourning and how difficult it is to go through that, to get past it, get through it, all of those things that nobody can train you for, tell you. Like, I mean, like we all feel it however we feel it, but it's never an easy situation. And freaking Spot walks over there, pats him on the leg, and it's just like, oh my God, like through all of that, like he even has like the empathy to kind of do that. Like, God, it's such a sad, heartfelt, beautiful moment, and literally heartbroken watching that. But it also like one of the things that I noticed about the development of humans in this is like it's a cross between wolves and apes. Like they have kind of what seems somewhat of a pack mentality kind of deal, but also the way that they move is very ape-like still, like when he's climbing the trees and stuff. Like that difference where I think, the simple explanation is it Spot's a dog. It's like the connection is obvious, but I think that ape difference is like that level of intelligence that's just a bit extra that, we're humans, right? Like we're still evolving. We're just farther behind dinosaurs. This is, I just realized this is the prequel to the Flintstones. That's what's happening here.
Oh.
Remember the dinosaurs can speak in that too, and they've resorted themselves to being objects because they are capable of doing things. I'm just saying, we're getting there. I'm also saying that the dinosaurs are superior. Go, Nick.
But what I like about this scene so much too is, like Matt, you said that, without any dialogue, like they're saying so much. And I think what's important is that even if there's a language barrier to where you can't like verbally communicate with other people, like two people or two creatures, two living beings, can both talk about like death in their family. That's like a universal language. And I think that's like, it's like the essence of human connection is if you could both, without saying words, express and show like that you've had, that you've experienced death in your life. Like everybody can relate to that. Like it doesn't matter who you are. And I think that was like the powerful message I got between like those two having that bonding moment. Was being able to essentially communicate without words. The other thing that I really like about this scene too is, and this is like one of many, I like the pacing of this movie, how during the daytime there's a lot of action and traveling and a lot of movement going on. And I love how when they have these scenes, these night scenes specifically, where they're winding down and they're kind of in one spot, and it's very calm and what's the other word I'm looking for? It's just like it's very serene and it like brings your energy down, and there's a good contrast. What?
Tranquil.
Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah, like calm and tranquil moments where like just the contrast between the day and night time of this movie, it paces really well. So I'm glad that it wasn't just like all day scenes, for the hour and a half of runtime, because there's a lot of other night scenes later that happen too. And so it was just a good choice on them.
All right.
Anybody got anything else?
I think that's it for that one. I mean, it was a quick moment, but it's an impactful one.
Yeah. I've got another scene.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we ever got his name or what kind of dinosaur he was, but the first other dinosaur that Arlo encounters after getting lost and surviving the whole little snake thing. It's got all of his animals that come out of there.
Oh,
the
It's not a triceratops. He's got too
No.
many horns. Like that's what I was like. I said I'm not gonna try and guess. I'm not even gonna know. I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna,
He's an octoceratops.
A triceratops.
He's a Forosaurus.
yeah, that guy.
Nice.
Guy. So this was kind of just a funny moment, this weird character, just really interesting. But I loved how it kind of starts with him being camouflaged in the woods,
Right.
and with the exception of all of his obvious animals, which is just weird because it looks like there's a weird cluster of animals just hanging in these branches. Like that's ominous. But this guy had his plan. So I just thought this was a weird character. I don't really know what he's supposed to represent or like what his whole thing was. He kind of had like this shamany, I guess, since we're going with the Lion King, like a Rafiki-esque kind of vibes of guidance of, oh, that's you, that's your critter. You've connected with him. He's going to help you along your journey. Like, I don't know.
He was like the yak from Zootopia.
A little bit, yeah. Tommy Chong, yeah, or water buffalo, whatever he was.
Whatever he was,
yeah.
man.
Yes. But like he was just like, it was a weird little moment, and I like that it kind of kept things lighthearted, especially for a way of like a naming spot. But it was it was just really weird, and I loved how it ends with him basically being betrayed by one of his animals and leads to him just completely abandoning all safety and chasing after this bird screaming Debbie. Like weird guy, weird funny scene.
Debbie, you're better than that.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's the way he's talking, it's so good. So I thought it was really funny. I know that it doesn't necessarily add much to the scene or the story at all, but I like that it reminds you, with all of the heaviness that they're hitting you with, this is a nice little lighthearted moment where even Arlo kind of relaxes and kind of gets into the joke of the things of like, oh, I have to name this thing first so that I don't lose him. Like it's an interesting little moment. I thought it was fun. Jen, what do you got?
I just want to protect the name of Rafiki because you can never compare those two characters. Like ever, Rafiki was actually wise and knew what was going on in his world, whereas this guy was nothing but a big fat fraud, and we don't compare the two.
I'm not saying it was a good representation or a reflection of Rafiki. I'm just saying intent. Brian.
I like to say that I stand by my sister on that one as well. But I do want to, since you brought up the whatever this guy's name is and what his life is, did you guys actually listen? Did you guys actually listen?
What is life?
To some of the comments that he said? Like some serious adult humor going on in this one. What is he talks about how he has like each of his people or each of his animals on him was his protector, and they all protected different things.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of them was like, this guy protects me from insects at night.
Yeah.
And the one that killed me is, this guy protects me from making bad choices.
Yes.
I feel like we all just need someone, right? A little birdie on our shoulder that protects us from making bad choices.
He's like,
That's so great. What was up with his eyes? Were his eyes like cross-eyed or something?
Yes.
Or like the whole time?
Yeah.
Was he
like,
on something? Was he on
yeah, he was
shrooms?
definitely on something. Debbie be flying around dropping some pills.
Some wild berries.
Yeah. You're right, Debbie. I needed this, man.
I feel like this guy might have been an early example of what, like, it's another way of surviving out in what I'll just say is the wild, right? Like,
Right.
This guy is essentially, he feels like prey and he is constantly on guard. and Arlo being a terrified creature, like he is naturally afraid, and I don't want to say cowardly, but dude needs to, pull up his big boy pants and press on, which he figures out. But I think this was an example of like, this is what you could do. Keep pushing forward. And here's other examples of what you could do to survive out here. Like this is guys hiding in the woods and freaking out about everything,
Right.
versus the T-Rex who take this kid who's much smaller than them, but also recognizing that he is capable, right? Like he can still push these longhorns. He can still fight these what were they called? The little
Rustlers.
The rustlers, yeah. Like I just like that it's kind of that the other side of the coin, right? Of like he could have given up and just hid to survive.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jen.
Well, now we gotta talk about. I liked when the like the dad T-Rex explained to him like, I'm afraid all the time. Like, but that was such a powerful moment and like necessity for Arlo. I think that's like what he needed. But I do have to get going, and there was one little scene I want to talk about. Sorry, Jiggy.
Oh, I can always carry on later.
Well, no, it's part of that. Go ahead, continue.
No, because you had brought up another. It's like you brought up a scene, and I can talk about that later, so that's fine.
Okay, well, the one that this was kind of like my runner-up to the Fireflies was when, and if you don't want me to talk about it, it's okay, because it is towards the end, I think. But it's when Spot is in that little log, and then like that second flood comes, and then when they go down the waterfall, like that way that Arlo's like curled up and just holding him. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I just loved the illustration of that. It was really cool.
I titled that scene "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls."
Like, you.
Oh, Brian, what are you doing to me?
That is so like, that's so good. It's bad.
Come on.
That is a great title though. Kudos to you.
That's great.
Go chasing waterfalls. Grab the little spot that you used to.
I imagine this is where they got a lot of where they used that footage of that GoPro that they dropped. This is probably where that was coming, where it came into play. I was like, okay, this is how shit goes south.
That or when actually no, I think that is the same scene. No, it is the same scene when he's like underwater and it's all murky. Yeah, that's definitely the same scene. Did you guys notice the rolling tree that jabs him in the side?
Yeah.
Oh,
dude, that thing was gnarly.
Yeah, that thing. I was like, oh man, that would have hurt. God, that would have hurt.
Dude, everything would have hurt. I know that we're like, we can't show a bunch of blood and stuff, but like those bruises, I'm like, that's not doing you justice, man. You got your ass kicked.
Yeah. I will say I laughed very hard on the resuscitation of Spot.
Oh. The blowing of the air.
Yeah, I just figured I might try that in the field of my internship. See what happens.
You're not that cool.
I agree.
He does chest compressions?
No, he does this weak little.
He just
whistle into his
it.
mouth. Yeah. I get that they kind of establish he's got strong breath when he blows all the little gophers out, but like that's a stretch, and especially when all you really need to do is have him press on his chest ever so slightly. Just like that's a much better thing.
I let it slide. I'm like,
have these guys kiss.
It's a Disney Pixar movie. I let it slide, but
of the breath of life. Come on.
I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Breathing like breath and new life.
It's the literal breath of life, but I mean, just press on his chest like everybody else. Have him cough up a bunch of water like all other movies.
Dinosaur. Okay, guys, a dinosaur pushing on a tiny human's chest. I think the breath of life was a better call.
If he can chew all of the berries off of a branch and not destroy the limb that it's on, I'm pretty sure he can press on a tiny critter's chest and not kill it. I believe in you, Arlo.
These are the real arguments.
But all right, guys.
Don't at me.
I hate it, but I have to go. So, final thoughts and who won the movie or what? I'm really enjoying this chat, and I wish I could stay for it all, but I know I will be paying the price for it tomorrow. So, thank you for letting me escape early. But this is about the movie, not my life.
You'll listen to it.
I will listen to it. But no, I enjoy this movie. I'll probably watch it again. I like to watch it again when I'm not already emotional and see how I respond to it. And yeah, who wins it? I think so there's two. It's the life lessons, but there's two of them that really stuck out to me. And so I'm like, face your fear. That's always a good one. But then another one that this one showed, and it's not as common, it's like, you can't be selfish. Like, it's not about you. And I really like that. Yeah. So life lessons win it.
All
That's a
right.
good one.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Well, thanks for joining us, Jen. Thanks for this pick. Good luck with work. I know it's going to be crazy. You got this. Make sure people start moving their shit out of your way. Like, your freezer is your freezer too, right? Like, you shouldn't have to climb over all that stuff to get to your pies.
Shouldn't be climbing over any of
You tell them this is Thanksgiving week. This is the biggest. Yeah. This is one of the biggest times of year for pies. So get your shit out of my way so I can get the people their pies.
Yeah.
Before we start pieing their faces,
Yeah.
Exactly.
You want a pie? You want a pie?
Or if you really want to freak someone out, just run around Safeway Bakery asking people if they've seen your freezer or have you.
Have you seen my freezer?
Just all crazy. All right.
Has anyone seen my freezer? I can't find it.
Okay.
The box is over the way. All right, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Thanksgiving.
And as always, send your food.
Yes.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
All right. So we want to go back to what you wanted to bring up, Brian?
Yeah, sure. Because she kind of segued right into it.
Okay.
Well, before I do that, I do want to mention one quick creative thing that I thought was really cool that really kind of threw me off a little bit. And I'm wondering if it did you guys as well. When going back to the scene that we were talking about with the antler dude.
Yes.
Arlo makes a break for it, and the shadow looks like a gigantic brontosaurus. And then it turns out that it's actually two T-Rexes that were just lined up perfectly.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that's good. Like that. I was like, well, wait, he's a little dude. And I didn't know where the movie was going at that point, but I didn't expect that to be two T-Rexes, which I thought was great. And then that leads me into what she was talking about, which no super creative title on this one. It's just Campfire Stories. But it was a cool, it's a fun little moment in the movie when you start to hear basically how, like, we've known Arlo just to be this scared dinosaur the entire time, just afraid of freaking out because a little tiny bug flew on his nose. And then you hear like the Rexes like talking about their stories, and he's like, whoa, look at this. You think that's bad? Check out this scar. Or even first of all, he's like looking at his like paper cuts practically. And what's the female one again? It's
His sister?
yeah, the sister's name.
Is it Libby?
Libby. Is
Libby.
that no.
Libby sounds right.
That's the dino sister.
Oh, Libby. It's Libby.
Is the T-Rex?
Oh no, do you want the T-Rex?
Yeah.
Ramsey.
Ramsey, that's right. Okay, Ramsey. Ramsey's like looking at Arlo's like little cuts on his feet, and she's like, "Oh, those are gonna scar up real nice." And then like it just gets this like huge pound your fist as to who's got the best scars, and then you start to hear the stories that they went through. Like I got stuck. My tail was stuck between a rock and a hard place. Great writing there. And then you get Buck's Butch.
Butch.
I think it's Butch is the
Ash.
I'm sorry.
Butch is Sam Elliott. Butch is Sam
Elliott. Yeah.
Ash is the
Butch's story is just savage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, where he goes to a watering hole and because he's been in 100-degree weather in the shade for 5 days. That's hot as hell, by the way. And then he goes to drink water and crocs come out and he's like, so I bit one in half, I tail whipped the other, and then I drowned the third in my own blood. I'm like, okay, Pixar. And then he has the souvenir the tooth to get him. Oh man. The camp stories I guess for like an adult, that was a very entertaining scene. I think it's gonna go right over the head of children. Sorry, I said a mouthful there. Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, you're fine. I hope this is not changing the scene, but you mentioned like the rock with Arlo getting stuck, right?
No. Ramsey was talking about how her tail
got stuck between a rock and a hard place. And
yeah, exactly. She's like, my tail was stuck between a rock and a hard place, which is that's a super common saying when you have a tough decision you're making, like, oh man, I'm really stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. So I like the adult humor there.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, well then I'll save my scene for later.
Did you guys think that when the two when Ramsey and her brother were connected as one, did you think that they were two T-Rexes, or did you think it was just a giant Bronto?
I when you first brought up the scene, I wasn't sure what you were talking about, but no, I did recognize it, and I loved how they did that too. Of like he's charging where it looks like a different dinosaur, which I'm sure was not their intent of how they were standing, but just you're looking through this prairie or whatever, and this mirage of an image, and I love the twist. Like they did such a good job, because right before this you get Steve Zahn with the birds of prey, and it starts off where he's like very friendly and it's like, oh yeah, sure, we'll help you out, like, and it seems like he's legit, right? Like really what it is we're just going to stick around until the storm comes and you get injured and we're going to eat you. But that's the big twist, right? Like you get that huge surprise of this guy who comes off all friendly, which he gives off villain vibes. You look at him, vultures, right? Like, so, I mean, you can draw your conclusions and know, but the way that it's delivered at first, it's really misleading. And then same thing happens with these T-Rex, where you think it's going to be another one of his types of dinosaurs or somebody friendly, and it turns into T-Rex and they start charging. You're like, oh shit, everybody's screwed. It's a T-Rex. And then they turn into being like hey, we got you, youngin', like this, we've got your back. Like they're tough as hell, but they're not just ruthless killing machines.
Yeah.
So I love how you get those kind of twists and turns with these characters right off the bat here. And like you said, really cool visual trick too of like to set it all up.
Really cool.
Yeah. So some really fun ideas there. And I love that it's one of my favorite things about this movie, where the T-Rex are intelligent and kind, honestly, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
they were very friendly up front. Like, there's just essentially to them would be a prey animal, but is intelligent enough to not eat their meat, right? Like, that's what they do. They raise their meat, they eat their meat, and they're good to go.
Yeah.
So
Tough break for that little critter, though.
which one?
The one that was trapped and then Arlo helped release.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like what a twist, right? Like you're talking about like the darkness of the campfire scene and everything too. It's like, oh shit, we got dark a couple times here.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sorry about. Like we talk about it all the time of how soft Disney and other animated stuff has gotten. It's like, let's not shy away from something. It doesn't have to be so brutal and ruthless, but at the same time, it's like, stop trying to hide everything. Just let it be a little dark. The world is not sunshine and daisies.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, just kind of leading off of that. I like that they took these T-Rexes to be like these really like honorable, cool, like helpful
Cowboys.
dinosaurs, rather than kind of like make a mockery out of them, or have them be like a sort of role where like they could easily be made fun of, because everybody knows the joke of like the short T-Rex arms, like can't not being able to do anything, but they didn't lean in with that, and I really appreciate them actually like really showing off like all of the good qualities that a T-Rex can actually be. So I just appreciate that. Go ahead, Brian.
I agree with you guys. I like the personalities that they gave the T-Rexes. I struggle with the voices that they gave them. Now, Sam Elliott's voice is Sam Elliott's voice, and that's fine. I think that one really worked for the T-Rex. It's the other two where I'm like, I don't know. The accents may have been a little harsh. I don't know why we had to go so Southern style or so Southern sounding. I'm just wondering if I'm kind of solo on here. It's a head scratcher that I wrote. I said, why did they have to have Southern accents? Because I feel like it almost took away from the personalities that you guys were trying to highlight over here.
I kind of have a theory about this where
Sure.
So we've brought up that there's a lot of different influences and writers and things that went into this that kind of causes certain things to be disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted big theory coming in. I feel like certain characters, certain dinosaurs are to be representative of a certain demographic, right? Like the rustlers and the T-Rex are cowboys, and what was Arlo and his family?
Apatosaurus.
Those guys. I feel
Apatosaurus.
This is the wild theory coming in. I think they're supposed to be a bit more representative of Native Americans, and it's because the film seems to take place in that kind of time period where it's still the frontier. We're pushing west. It's not necessarily cowboys and Indians to use the term, but like it's in that era. I don't know what you would call it, but like I remember growing up, the tons of stories of, it's frontier people. They're living off the land.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone out and that's it. They're living off the land. But I do feel like because you have your carnivores and you have your herbivores, that's not something you can avoid. I think by having those characteristics, they've kind of they use that as a catalyst to represent a demographic. And with that being said, the T-Rex, the carnivores being these cowboys of the time, that's why you lean into that kind of like, that's why you have somebody as powerful as Sam Elliott bringing the voice of like Papa T-Rex and being like setting the tone for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily have an argument for the kids. They're going to have a Southern accent, but they're younger, right? Like maybe they're teenagers or, we don't really know ages here. So it's hard to say like how young that these guys are. And they may just be at that rambunctious teenage college years kind of era, right? Where they're just like having a good time. They're not really rough, and they haven't fought 3 freaking alligators that attack you after, like they haven't had to deal with that kind of stuff yet. And you got the rustlers that are kind of, your more hillbilly scoundrel, kind of southern
trailer park trash.
I don't want to say it, but yeah. So it's, I feel like that's kind of why they've leaned in this direction. Like I brought up like White Fang because I'm blanking on any of the stories that would take place in this kind of era, but that's kind of the vibe that I get, right? It's like it's tough living, but there's a code, and some creatures are, they I don't know. I know I've really trailed off of the whole accent thing.
That's fine.
So I'm stopping. But like that's the wild theory, right?
Yeah.
To fuel the fire of the theory, think of the music. Very often there's kind of, I noticed with the strings where it kind of has a bit more of like an Asian sort of feel to the strings. Like it might be more Asian influenced instruments, and other times, and I'm basing this a little bit more off of the more recent like Mandalorian kind of like the Star Wars themes that they've been using lately, where it kind of has a bit more of like a Native American sound to some of the strings. It's an interesting thing, but like I feel like within the music there's the influences as well. Like when you meet the T-Rex, like you get a little bit more of a country feel, right? Like we're sitting on the fire, you get your kind of banjos and things. I was telling Jen before you guys hopped on that I was listening to the Goat Rodeo sessions, which is it's orchestral music that's actually like banjo, like bluegrass stuff that was done by famous I am blanking on what they are, the conductors and things, those guys. So it's got that country feel. It's like perfect for this movie for those guys. So check it out if you're interested. Interesting stuff. All right. You guys have any scenes or anything that want to ready for break? Yeah.
Well, before I get to the scene, there was something I wanted to mention earlier, with the dinosaur with all the animals on its like tusks and horns or whatever. I didn't notice it at first. I thought all those animals were on like a tree, like on tree branches or like a rock or something. But then when the dinosaur is revealed, I was like, oh shit, they were all perched on this dinosaur the whole time. Like I had no idea. I was just curious if you guys thought that too.
It took a minute to like see him because like they camouflaged him in there pretty well, but when
they really blended him in,
see like just the colorful animals just floating there, it's like that's weird. And then you can start picking them out.
Yeah. I just thought that they hit him very well.
Yeah.
But no, the scene I wanted to bring up was see, I'm curious if Brian, you can come up with the title for it. But it's when Spot is like trying to bring different food to Arlo, and Arlo's like, "No, I don't want that." Then like Spot brings something new, and Arlo doesn't want that either. Do you have a title for that, Brian, or no?
No. Oh, I
Like
looked up. I thought it, but it's a different scene that I titled. So no, let me. I can come up with one. Give me a sec. Keep talking.
Okay. No, you're fine. This scene was just kind of fun because it's two like foreign sort of creatures like really trying to figure out like what the diet plan is for the other. It's like, oh, do you like this disgusting pincer beetle? Like, is that something that you'll eat? No, okay, I'm gonna rip its head off. Or,
here's your title. Here's your title: Bug Appetit.
Bug Appetit. That's good. Yeah, I just thought it was a fun. It's a fun scene of two species learning about each other, essentially. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I agree. This was an entertaining scene. It reminded me of it reminded me of Box Trolls when he keeps giving her what he thinks she wants and she keeps denying him and he gets so pissed off.
Yeah.
But this one was even funnier because he's like, "Do you want this?" And then, "No, okay." And then at first it's like, "Is that lizard dead? I don't know if it's dead or not. Oh no, we can still be breathing. Okay, is the lizard still alive?" And then it just scurries off. And the look that Spot gives Arlo is like, "Bro, I hunted hours
Yeah.
to get that for you, and you just let it go." And then he comes back and he's flying on the bug. I'll tell you one thing. I did not predict that Pixar would have him rip the bug's head off.
That was truly terrifying, actually.
I thought it was awesome.
Shocked me. I was like, "Oh, they did that."
I thought it was so
Gross.
awesome.
Yeah.
Unexpected and hilarious.
Oh man, that was really just an interesting. You could tell that Spot was just trying to. He knew that Arlo needed to eat, and he was doing whatever he could to just find something for him to eat. And yeah, the whole like flying on a bug like that was hilarious.
Well, were there other things, or was it just the gecko and the bug?
So I remember the lizard, the bug. I feel like there was was it a stick or berries? Oh, I think
Berries was the
he brought
last.
out a stick, didn't he?
Yeah. Berries was the last thing. And then he when he finishes the berries, he points the stick at him to like, "Can you get me more berries?" And then he thinks tug of war.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And then
And
that
then he does
leads
lead
to
him
the
to the
other
bear.
scene that I titled "That's Very Nice of You,"
Yes.
Nice.
which is when he's led to the berry tree and he does the whole like dino bridge thing going on there.
My thought was, how was Arlo gonna get up, like get back up on the ledge? I was like, you're anatomically not physically capable of getting up.
The only way is what he did. It's just he must have just insanely strong teeth to just jaw down on the ground and then swing his body until he can get his legs to grab on.
I mean, you have to remember this is a creature that can swing its tail and slice
chop wood. That's very good.
I mean, he's got otherworldly strength that we cannot comprehend.
I always loved how they can chop the trees without any sharp edges. Good stuff.
Just like a tail whip, and then the tree snaps in half. Yeah,
It's impressive.
It's crazy. Speaking of tail, the scene that I was going to bring up earlier that I thought was something else. When Arlo gets stuck in that rock, I think the tail is on top, or the rock is on top of his tail, right? And he tries to get out. He tries to bury his way out, but he just ends up.
It's got his foot trapped.
Yeah, his leg
foot?
is. No, yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know if it's me, but the first thing that came to my mind was the movie 127 Hours.
Yes.
Like, did you guys think of that too?
Yes.
Especially when he like gave up and he's like, and like the
I'm stuck here for life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh no, is he gonna like bite off his own arm or his own leg? Or
I gotta say, he gave up a little too easily.
I think so too. Yeah.
See, I had a little bit of a nitpick about this where for me, I wanted this to be a moment where Arlo, like, he's panicking, right? Like, this could have been a moment of him figuring out, like, okay, calm down. Yeah. Instead, he panics, he freaks out like he always does, and he gives up. He's like, okay, then I'm just gonna die.
Yeah.
He wakes up the next day. Spot has buried his leg out so that he's free, and it's like there's no lesson learned there. Like that could have been a good moment for Arlo of like, take a minute, breathe, figure out the situation,
analyze your situation.
Yeah, save yourself. Like and it didn't have to be within that moment. Like he could have given up, just fallen asleep like he did, and then waking up and like, you know what? I dug myself, especially since like he was digging around himself. Like, okay,
Right.
you can dig, like just you're gonna come to this conclusion on your own, but you're scared in the moment. Figure it out. Let him. I wish that he would have figured it out himself. So
Yeah.
little nitpick, but I did definitely think of 127 hours.
Well, here's my interpretation of that scene is that I think it was really meant to show like how dedicated Spot was to I don't know if like being his friend is the right word, but just taking care of him, just looking out for his livelihood. Because like we just talked about with the food scene, like he's trying to find out how to feed him to keep him alive, and the rock scene, he's Spot's just trying to essentially save his life, you know, from being stuck. I think it's just meant to show that how much we see Spot care about him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Spot even tried to prevent him from eating the berries that had the snake with fucking legs. That was so weird. God, that was creepy. Just to see a snake with legs, I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like it.
This is the moment where like the movie like goes from like realism to not realism.
Yeah.
You know,
there are snakes with legs.
Like that doesn't mean that I don't like it.
I'm just saying, like he's talking realism versus non. Like,
yeah,
that is real.
It didn't look real to me. Hold on, snakes.
Anyway, crazy. No, I mean, honestly, Spot did truly care about Arlo, and he knew the wilderness so well that he was just like, "This is, you know, I'm going to teach you everything I know without saying a word to you," which was it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's kind of a like your Jungle Book story, right? Of like, you know, learning to survive through animals,
Right.
And yeah, it's cool that he's able to teach him these sort of things and how to survive. But I agree, like those early moments of him doing those things was to show the loyalty, like you said, I don't know if it's necessarily friendship. I'm curious if it's even guilt at a certain point to where Spot realizes that his actions may have led to, you know, the loss of Arlo's dad. Like I don't want to say that it's his fault, right? Like that's not there's lots of reasons that led to Arlo's dad being taken out by that flash flood.
Yeah.
But to put that blame on Spot, like I'm not trying to do that. But maybe he felt some guilt, and that's also another reason that led to like his I've got to take care of this thing, like it can't take care of itself, and I feel some guilt of that he's lost. I don't know, because I feel like Spot would have been just fine, right? Like he didn't have to follow him. It's like he can survive on his own.
Oh, easily.
He has proven that. So I don't know. It makes me wonder why Spot stuck around in the first place, right? Like, what was his loyalty to this creature? Like, and I say creature, I mean Arlo, right?
You can make the honest case that he might have been lonely, and Arlo just may have been a friend for Spot to hang out with.
Just companionship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about the fact too that Arlo rescues him from the trap, right? Like,
yeah,
maybe it's just that I owe you a debt kind of deal of like, you spared my life, so like I'm your life for life kind of situation, you know?
Yeah.
You saved my life, I'm gonna make sure that you stay alive. Go ahead, Nick.
Can we talk about that scene?
Which scene?
The trap that the dad helps Arlo set up to catch the critter that keeps, you know, stealing their food supply.
Yeah.
I love when it cuts to Arlo with the stick in his mouth, and he's doing like a military drill, like guarding you know, the food supply, but also watching over for the trap too. And it's just a great like comical like an ROTC, you know,
Yep.
like a recruit, you know, trying to like be tough for the first time. But then but then Arlo just like immediately goes back to his real self when he just can't seem to get himself to bonk the critter on the head with that stick, you know, and whack him. Yeah, it's all in all super funny and super real for Arlo, at least. Go ahead, Brian.
I mean, what was even more comical about that is not only is he doing his little military thing, but he's like acting big and bad towards the most innocent things, like get out of here, you bug.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and he's like, keep moving, you leaf. Like,
Yeah.
but then finally when the trap drops, it's game over. Bravery out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, all of this is wonderful callbacks and stuff to like those old movies that I remember watching as a kid. But what did you guys think of the whole? Here's how you get your mark. You got to kill something. Like these.
That's not true though.
That's what his dad told him. Was like, you got to take care of this critter. And he says,
that's not the only way of getting a mark though.
True.
I mean, there are many, many ways that you could get a mark. His dad is just like, I think you need to kill somebody or kill something to basically grow as a man and you know, earn your mark. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, there are plenty of
seemed
other
like if he
ways to
did
get
proper job feeding the damn chickens, he could have earned his mark. So
true, but he never mastered feeding the chickens. So I don't want to jump too far ahead because of the ending and stuff, but like this whole concept of like earning your mark, like it's a big deal. It's a heavy burden on him, and it's kind of one of the things that sets everything into motion, right? It's like, I have to prove myself. I have to like, it could be like, you know, this representation of, you know, the expectations of parents, you know, on their children of what they expect of them. It's like, it can be too much sometimes, and it's devastating to them. Go ahead, Brian.
I mean, I don't blame them. 4 out of 5 of the family members have their marks on the wall. You can see it. It's there. Yeah, the pressure is there. His brother and sister weren't doing the hardest things to get a mark. Like, what was it? One of them was pushing her nose and making trail.
She plowed
the field, right?
She plowed an entire field. That's
like, congratulations, here's your mark. And then I forgot what the other one did.
He cleared the entire field.
That's right. Yeah. So it's like, and then you see these that all of them have made, and when you don't have a mark, then you start to get in your own head, like, am I not special enough? And am I different? Blah, blah, blah. So, you know, like, you can definitely understand the pressure, but yeah, to go from like brother and sister basically just doing, you know, everyday farming chores to this guy has to go on a murder spree. It's a little on the harsh transition. By the way, I titled that Mud Marks the Mark.
Yeah. So I in theory, I like the idea of the whole earning your mark, but because it's such a flawed premise of how it's delivered, like you said, of like, okay, great, you successfully did your chores. Like, that's it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get praise for that, but it's like, it put a lot of pressure on him. Yeah. And sure, his job was like, okay, dude, you just need to feed these chickens. You just need to feed the chickens. Like, I realize that you're scared, but like, dude, that's all we're asking you to do is feed these chickens. So it's such an extreme turn to go from that to earn your mark to you need to say you need to solve the problem that's causing us to lose our food. Otherwise, we're not going to survive through the winter. It's like, dude, not only are you putting it's pressure upon pressure. It's insane. And obviously it's not Papa's intent, right? Like I think he realizes too late that he's lost sight of what the lesson's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Nick.
What was I gonna say? Oh,
I didn't say
I,
that.
I do like the specific shot where when Arlo is looking up at that silo and he sees, Papa's mark on there. And after his dad is essentially saying like, yeah, you earned your mark, you do this, like that means like everything to a child. Like that, like that's like so meaningful. And like to us, it's just whatever. It's just a mud print on a rock. Like it, but to Arlo, that means the world.
No, yeah, that's like the freaking Oscars to Arlo.
Yeah, and so
like that trophy, that award.
Yeah, and I think that like you're right. Like it puts a lot of pressure on him, even for like the most mundane task is still too difficult for Arlo. But I think that his dad essentially had faith that he could do it.
Yeah,
like he may not have been 100% that Arlo could do it, but he had faith that Arlo can do it, and that's really the best you can do. Yeah. Is do your best to get them to overcome challenges and whatnot. Even if and like even if Arlo, like whatever the critter was, if it was something that was deadly, that could possibly even kill Arlo in the process, it like Arlo would have done the most heroic thing of trying to protect his family and food and the farm, the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like he would have died a hero essentially, and that's like even more meaningful. So I'm not sure where I was going with that, but just like a what if kind of thing, if that was to happen.
I've got a nitpick.
Let's bring it.
This is going to go into more of a blanket nitpick.
That's a new
but
term.
It's one that always it's one that this movie followed too, and it drives me insane. When you have a story where the main character or whatever has been separated by from the family, I find too many times that the movie only stays with one side and never brings us back to it's like you forget or almost it just doesn't seem like the missing is real. Do you know what I'm saying? Like for this one, I would have loved if they just gave us one or two scenes of what's going on the farm now that they not only lost their dad, but they've lost their youngest brother and youngest son as well. And you never see it. It's always about one side. We're going to follow Arlo on his adventure, but in reality, there's probably three other individuals that are affected by this. And I just don't get why movies do that. Like, why do you focus so much on one side of the story when we all know that there's another side and it's always forgotten?
I'm right there with you. I go ahead, Nick. Sorry, I didn't see your hand was up.
No, you're fine. I kind of have a theory that I think that my theory doesn't work as well because the way that they did it in this movie could have been better. But the theory is that if we're following Arlo for the majority of the time while he's lost, and we don't see the family life back on the farm, I think it really builds up the anticipation of when we do finally go back to the farm. You can see like how much wear and tear there is like on the field with the mother. The energy is low, and whatnot. Like you can see that having passed through time even without seeing it for the whole journey. But what I think that the mark that they missed see what I did there? The mark that they missed was that I feel like when Arlo does finally get back to his family, it could have looked a little bit more devastating. Like the environment could have looked a lot more run down, or like the mom could have like been sick, or just something to kind of like heighten that, he's finally home. Look how long you've been gone, and how worn down everything is. So that's my theory on that. But go ahead, Matt.
No, so you guys are bringing up some great points and stuff, and I agree. I would like it if I got to see kind of the family side of things, because they introduced at least brother and sister to be interesting characters, and we really got zero interaction with them other than right at the very beginning. And I don't want to jump to the end, but like it's one of those things where like I wish that I wish there was more. Like when he gets back of like, okay, well, we know we've seen the change, but I'd really like for his family to see the change. Like that's kind of my problem of like him getting his mark in this. It's just like, yes, he survived a big ordeal. Like, I mean, has he earned his mark? Absolutely. But it feels like it would be so much more impactful if it was not left with that. Like, he survived all of this. Yes, he earned his mark, but now he's back on the farm and he's helping out. Like, these guys are prepared for the winter. They're going to be okay. Like, maybe it's dragging on the ending too far at that point, or adding too many endings, because I don't know, but the family side of it is important too, and it gets left out almost entirely.
Well, you can almost make the assumption that once he's back, he's going to be one of the best helpers, and all the fear thing is gone. The chickens are going to be fed twofold at this point, like all that stuff. So it's like, do you really need it? Probably not.
Probably not. But it does. It's as far as nitpicks, like that's kind of my problem with the ending, though, is like it just ends. It's like he gets his mark and it's like done. Like
yeah.
Like but was that the important part, or was it? I don't know. It feels like, of all, like Jin brought up all of the messages and things that you can learn from this and take from this. It just, I don't know. It drops. It's like you had that powerful ending with go back with your kind, except it's very beautiful and sweet, of like this recognition of like, no, you're telling me I can go with them. It's like that life debt is over. And like, because another heartbreaking moment. I know I'm jumping all over scenes and stuff now, but I don't care.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out where you were, but I got you. You're talking about the caveman.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing, right? Is like, man, they gave him white hair. Like these.
Can we talk about the genetics, please?
Yeah, let's go for it. Like
I was wondering what's going on here.
Around.
Like, first of all, why does one of them look like Zeus? like that's your dad, but your dad looks like he's 80 years old, and mom looks like she's probably pushing like 65. The kids are about the same age as you. I really questioned a lot of the family dynamics and what's happening here. Like, why are they just that old that they're popping out children? Were they popped out at the same time? Because it seemed like he was gone forever. Everyone's got white hair. He's got brown hair. Was he adopted? I had 50,000 questions about the caveman family.
Let's get after it. I've got theories, a bundle.
Let's hear it.
So like it's their tribes, right? Like, or like that's one way of looking at it. But like look at them as wolves. You've got gray wolves and you've got white wolves. That's what they are. Like humans evolved to be where they survive in different environments. Look at them. Like they knew winter was coming and they had furs. Like they were covered, and they have white hair because they survive in the snow. That's how they survive. And Spot is a gray wolf. Like he survives in the winter. He travels, he stays in the woods. Like that's where he would survive. That's why he's taking their corn and stuff. Like he's so he's adopted by these guys. That's why they have white hair. They're the Arctic wolves. He's a gray wolf kind of deal. And it's like it's such an interesting thing of like they absolutely adopt him, but there's that misinterpretation of like, oh, we're heading off. Like, okay, well, it was great seeing you guys because, God, it was. I'm all over the place, Nick. Like, I've got so much. Like, just once these characters were brought into the world, it changed so much and like lots to talk about. Nick, go ahead.
Well, here's my question. If we go back to the scene, the family of sticks, right?
Yeah.
He Spot, he draws up his family as himself and two parents, and then both parents die.
Yes.
So I think by that, it's safe to assume that these white-haired, white foxes, silver foxes, or whatever you want to call them, or silver wolves, that they definitely like adopted him along the way. And then that Spot then got lost from them again. So genetically, yeah, I don't think that he's not like, he wasn't birthed by them.
See, I was thinking that too, because going with that scene, Spot only had 3 sticks. There were 4 individuals that he ran into. It was the older gentleman, the lady, and then 2 kids. And I'm like, well, then he would have had 5 sticks total on his story too, but he only had 3.
I don't think
the 2 of them had dead,
and 2 of them had died. And it's like, well, did you see them die, or are you just assuming they're dead? Like there's the caveman story is it's very lackluster, and there's not enough provided for us to really come up with a definitive answer.
No. I disagree. It's plenty that no, he has never seen these people before in his life. His parents are dead. This is not like this is his family. Oh, you're our long lost son. No. This is a different pack, right? Like this, they're
that's a family. That's what I was thinking too.
And they found like they don't. There's not villages of these things, right? Like they wander as families, and he has never seen other people like him. And when somebody howls back, and he's like, "Who the hell is that?" Like that's why he's so curious when he sees them for the first time, and he's trying, and it bothers me. Like in Arlo knew, he was like, I know that this is selfish, but I can't give him up yet. And it's like, oh, you son of a bitch! Like you're wrong. You know you did the wrong thing here.
Bad Arlo.
Well, oh God, like and it hurts. But Spot just kind of like, yeah, no, he's my guy. Like. He trusts him. Like it's there's a lot going on there. Nick.
I also think that well, for the first like half of the time that this caveman family shows up, I didn't even think that they were real. I thought they were just like some kind of an imagination in Spot's eyes, that like that Arlo was going back to his family, and that maybe that somehow translated for Spot that he was going to go back to his family as well, or that he wanted to go back to his family, and that he was like maybe not hallucinating, but just kind of like a dream sequence or something, of like seeing what he knows as family now, that they're not really real, but he just wants it to be real. But I think we confirmed like they were real people.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But they could have leaned that way. They could have totally went that route too. Go ahead, Brian.
So the Good Dinosaur has it's not really scenes, it's just more of like moments that I just thought were so super creative. And one of them I already alluded to earlier, but I'll bring it up now again. But the first one was it's got my head in the clouds.
Oh.
And then the second one is Jaws in the Sky. And I just kind of want to take a moment just to appreciate the animators for this, because it is, I don't know, it was so crazy when they're like walking up the mountain, and you know that their feet are on the ground. And then they have them, he's spots just being thrown up in the air. They're having fun, and he goes through the cloud, ray of light, through the cloud, ray of light. I'm like, it's those small details that really make it. And you see Spot, it's just like in awe. And I'm like, what the hell did he see? And then as Arlo is standing on the cliff, his head is through the clouds, and he sees Clawtooth Mountain. And I'm like, if that happened to me in real life, I would just be just in awe with myself. Like, you're standing firm on ground, but you can't see anything below you except for the clouds and anything that peeks over the clouds. It's such a cool scene. Go ahead, Matt.
So I love, like you'd mentioned, Spot's reaction, like when he goes up and they show that, oh wow.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, no, you got to see this.
Yes.
Like that's such a fun moment, and it's so well animated. Like they did such a great job of storytelling without needing dialogue, and I really love that about this. That's such a fun moment, and it leads to that gorgeous view.
Yeah.
There's a guy I was working with in Seattle that was telling me about like how he went hiking and he hit like above the cloud line on this cliff, and you could see above the cloud line, and just that's it, man. It's a sea of clouds and just whatever's peeking through, and it's incredible. It's like, that sounds amazing. And this is beautiful animation.
And I mean, speaking of sea of clouds, that rolls right into the other one where I'm just like,
this was amazing.
It's just so creative. It's like,
I loved it.
Of course you did this. Like, why wouldn't you? It's like you're in a sea of clouds and you've got these, protagonists, pterodactyls, what have you. Let's turn them into sky sharks. Like, it's amazing. Like their fins drop just below, and you see, I'm like, oh, I see where this is going already. And it's just one of them. And then more and more, and they do the circle. The circle was this. I was like, that's a game changer right there. Like, I don't know why people don't do this more often with birds and everything, because it just looked like complete ocean havoc is about to happen, but it is, hundreds of feet above you, and just really, really, really creative and just perfectly executed. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, dude. This was it was so cool, and it was terrifying. Like, there was something about, you brought up Jaws earlier. Like, there was something about the fact that you're getting that effect of swarming sharks.
Yeah.
But above you. Like, that's so much more terrifying.
Yes.
And it was such a cool visual.
You get that like flash, the lightning flashes, and you can see the wingspan through the flash of light. I'm like, nope, this is more frightening than being in the ocean.
Right? It's so good. And then the cherry on top of, like, how they just slowly pull out and disappear beyond. It's like, oh my God, it's Shark Attack to a T, and it's terrifying.
It's like Reverse Breach.
It's so good. It's so good. Like, I'd like to imagine this is what Sharknado is like, where it's just these ominous clouds of sharks circling in a horrifying way, but it's not.
Wish, dude. I wish. Sharknado wishes.
Oh my God. Go ahead, Nick.
So this might get me deleted from real life, but I have never seen Jaws.
That's okay. That's okay. I saw it at too young an age. I still am uncomfortable in the ocean.
Don't worry, Nick. It'll happen.
Everybody talks about it being the first summer blockbuster, and I've never seen it.
It for sure was. It didn't. I don't think it was it like invented the summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
And here's what I'll say about it. Whatever you're imagining Jaws is like, that's not what Jaws is like.
Nice.
Well, I know
Well
it was
put.
made in the 70s, so
Yeah, it's not your typical shark attack movie. It's a psychological thriller involving a shark.
Yep.
Like I can kind of imagine it, like what it would look like in my head, and I kind of just want to keep it like that.
Fair enough. But yeah, just I can say that whatever you're expecting, it's not that.
Yeah. Have they remade Jaws?
No. Well, they've made dozens of
2,
sequels.
3.
The sequels don't like,
You know what really you know what Jaws is? I'll tell you what Jaws is. Jaws is the mission of a mayor to keep 4th of July alive.
oh my god. Yeah. So we don't need to get into the whole Jaws story, but the only Jaws that needs to exist is the first one.
That's the original for sure.
Everything else was like, I mean, it's a blockbuster, right? Like the blockbuster. So what does that mean? We put a number after this movie and we churn them out like it's fucking popcorn.
What if we got like a 2024 reboot of the first Jaws?
Then Back to the
like
Future
James
Part
Cameron
2
or Spielberg or something. I don't know.
Spielberg,
Or Michael
No.
Bay.
Jaws it's a classic. Don't touch it. You already have the Meg and the Meg 2.
Oh god, that's a great point.
You know, and so it's like people are kind of trying to do. They're doing Jaws, but they're doing it more elevated. More. I even seen Meg 2? I don't think I have yet. I don't remember if I've seen Meg 2 or not.
I don't even know the story to Meg. It's like, how is it that you're taking on this prehistoric shark and blowing it up without like I don't know, like
Jason Statham.
I know, that's all the answer you need, right?
Yeah. Anyway,
actually, isn't Rainn Wilson in the first one too?
Ooh, I think so.
Let's give him some credit.
I don't know. They do. Honestly, the Meg it's a very entertaining movie.
I imagine it's crazy. It's people taking on giant sharks.
They've got some killer scenes. I will say that. Oh man, one of the bites that they do. Holy crap!
Was that a pun intended?
What?
They got some killer scenes.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah. Okay. So those are the two highlights of like I said, not really scenes, just moments in the Good Dinosaur that I just felt really stood out. Really, really stood out to me.
They did have a couple of I think it was when they were when Spot and Arlo were both above the clouds, and they have a shot where like the sun is setting and like they're looking. It's like behind, like over the shoulder shot. I kind of wish that they had stayed on that for like 5 seconds longer.
Yeah, it was
so
it was
that we
pretty,
can kind of like take it in more. Because
yeah.
I feel like they cut a little too quickly on that.
They had another one when they were with the T-Rexes and they were herding their buffalo. And they had one where it was at sunset, and I'm like, ooh, that looks really good. And it's like a flash, like 2 seconds or something like that. But blink and you miss it. But it's a pretty cool sunset scene.
Just on that topic, like I did really enjoy the whole herding bits. Like the T-Rex were so fun.
Yeah.
The herding.
To be honest, they made me think T-Rex were cool. I'm saying it right?
They could be.
The T-Rex were cool. Like I grew up. Was it Rocky? The Red Ranger. Tyrannosaurus Rex is the Morphin Power Ranger, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't choose him because he was a freaking T-Rex. I chose him because red's badass color. But that's probably the only thing of my childhood where I'm like, yeah, T-Rex is freaking cool. This?
No, there's probably one more, and you're just not thinking about it.
Bring it on.
We're back.
Ooh, fair. Well played. Well played. Was it John Goodman? Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well played. I did forget about We're Back.
Yeah, you can't hit on that Rexy.
Yeah, thank you for calling me out on that one. I appreciate it. So yes, this
and Reptar, I don't know.
No, Reptar never, except for
he had a musical.
Okay, well, yeah. Oh my god! But here's the thing with Reptar. I loved it when it was like the movies, right? Like original Reptar, where it's the clear he's Godzilla stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That in the show, whenever they were like Reptar's coming back and it was that level of Reptar, I'm like, yes. And then because you brought up Rugrats, so now we're on this. And then they commercialize it to the point of like they always do with monsters. He's a freaking musical. It's a musical on ice. It's a romance. Like it's insane what they do with it. And
they say he's a menace, but I love him.
Nick, I know we're talking about a show that you've probably never watched. And here's the thing. You can't watch it now and enjoy it. You won't. You absolutely won't, because it's babies, man. It's babies doing like weird ass shit. And like you as an adult, you can't appreciate that level of humor because it's got some deep shit hidden in there.
It does.
Talking about Rugrats, right?
Yes, but it's babies.
It's babies.
Just slightly before
a baby's got to do what a baby's got to do.
You got it. Anyone got a screwdriver?
Get you through anything. A flathead screwdriver will save you
in a diaper. That's all you need. Oh, jeez. All right. I have another nitpick for the Good Dinosaur. Matt, you've already kind of alluded to like there's a lot of hot air kind of left out of the ending, and I'm even going to circle it back to I guess you could say the climax of the movie, and this is when Arlo is basically single-handedly battling 5 of the Sky Sharks. I'm just going to call them the Sky Sharks from now on.
Yeah.
And I mean, he takes down 2 of them with the running charge, and I'm like, okay, cool. You gotta lower the number somehow. I get it. So now we've got 3-on-1, and then 2 of them try to pull him, and he goes with I'm going to be a man and tail whip this tree. And I'm like, good for you. You popped your cherry, if you will. Good on you. And that tree takes down those 2, and they're in the river. And then you just disappoint me so much with this movie, where it's like, first of all, Spot does so much of the work and just bites a hole right into the wing. I actually straight up said good move when I was watching it. Like I was all jazzed. I was like, what are we? He's not gonna be able to fly, like all that stuff, right? Because he's got a hole in his wing now. And they still make it to where he's starting to fly away. And the thing that you give me is this Tom Brady throw to the end zone.
I totally forgot about that.
It was so anticlimactic. It was so comical. It was just like foo, 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 foo. Drop. I'm like, really? Like that's the ending of the battle of the Sky Sharks? Like it was so bad. I laughed. It was like that comical to me. I don't know if you guys have any other comments on it.
So for me, it's not so much how the fight goes, because it seems like it's really just set up for the next disaster, right? It's like in this moment they're hitting him with everything, because now he's gotten through the Sky Sharks and he's got to deal with
Nice.
saving Spot, who
Name's
is
kicking on.
trapped. What?
The name's sticking. It's kicking. It's getting.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just so easy to refer to them as this now. So for sure. But yeah, it's he's got to save Spot, and that now he's got to get through a waterfall. Okay, we got through the waterfall. Now there's a fucking flash flood that's coming. Really, it's one thing after another, and he's got to survive all of that. It's insane. It's just it's so intense what he goes through in that moment, but to come out on the other end, right? Like yeah. You mentioned in the chat, like this movie is its biggest enemy is nature. It is the environment that is really what's going to kill him.
Absolutely.
Than another dinosaur.
Mother Nature is an asshole in this movie.
Yeah. And I keep kicking. I've said it like so many times tonight, but if I could come up with any good examples for this, but the concept of these things where it's somebody gets separated, you have to survive through nature. Like this movie has been made so many times. This story has been told so many times. And
The Revenant?
I actually haven't seen The Revenant, but I mean, like, technically, yes. I mean more like the boy and his dog type of story, becoming one with nature. And
Call of the Wild.
I don't remember.
And then there's also another one with
there's
Liam
tons,
Neeson. Liam Neeson.
Yeah. The Gray or something.
The Gray? Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one though.
Yeah.
Finding Nemo.
Anyway. But my point is, like, there's so many great examples of this like this story being made before.
Yeah.
And it's just very interesting because it's being told from different species. Like, it's being told with dinosaurs. And it's such an interesting concept to do it that way. And I think it's actually done really well. Because it's you still get all of those same emotions, right? Like the I don't know. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't need to harp on it any further. But
I'm down to quotes.
Was there anything to quote?
Yeah, I wrote down 5 quotes.
I wrote down 3. I have 3 quotes.
Can I just comment on the music?
No,
of course you can.
Of course.
I thought the music was beautiful.
Yeah.
Very emotional, very like heart pulling your heartstrings, very very fitting.
Strings.
Yeah. Very like fitting for the scene.
Yeah, very twangy.
Twangy. What?
Twangy.
Twangy.
Oh, twangy.
Mm-hmm.
It had some good banjo feel.
Yeah, it's just very good score.
Agreed. Absolutely.
It actually kind of almost reminded me of a lot of the scores from the 90s on certain what would be like drama movies, or maybe like romantic comedies or something like that. It definitely had like a 90s style to it.
Or maybe like melodramas.
I just can't really put my actual thumb on it as to what about it, but it did have a little 90s feel.
Well, the thing that I like about it so much is that a lot of times when I watch movies, I tend to not notice the score.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually there's a lot happening in the scene that usually overwhelms or overpowers the score itself. But in this film, they seem to like it's probably a mixture of not a whole lot happening in the scene, but also just boosting the volume of the music a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it's like they make the music more a little bit more in the focus. for the scene, and I just noticed it a lot more. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I'm with you. Like I really enjoyed this music, and I think it had a lot of different themes that that it stuck to. Like I think I mentioned it earlier where it had at times kind of like an Asian sort of theme to the music, and it would kind of bleed into a little bit more Native American, and then it would have like kind of a country kind of twangy feel to it. Like it had these influences, and I loved how they blended it for the moments and everything, like how it would transition from one scene to the next. And it was just beautiful. Really loved it. Loved how they did it. And you could tell those influences. And I'm curious as to what the intent was and like where that kind of comes from. Was that all like Peter, like, or was this stuff that was established ahead? Like, I hate that this movie had so many creative people involved with it that it's muddied up to, well, who did what. But
Yeah.
Whoever deserves the credit, I hope gets it. But also, director, hey, shout out to you, man. Like, I'm sure it's probably you, but but I really like it. I really love this music. It's beautiful. And as you bring it up, I'm trying to find it on Spotify just to see if I can listen to it. So
All right.
I don't know if I have any other scenes.
Ready for quotes?
Yeah.
well, I just to touch on real quick, I'm sorry for scenes with the rustlers. Like that's just a fun scene of the fight and then having to get the longhorns wrangled back up.
Oh yeah.
It's just a fun scene. Like his
original yell was pretty comical. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank God for Spudge. Like, hey, I've heard you yell. I got you. Bam.
Bam.
Yeah. Love it.
Chomp.
Yeah. Quotes.
All right. So I wrote. Let's see. Oh yeah, we'll do. All right, you cluckers, you're about to get fed.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I did like that one. I didn't write it down, but I thought about it for sure. Funny.
Yeah.
First quote I wrote down was you got to earn your mark.
Oh yeah.
It's just like everything around that mark felt like pressure and everything, but it lets you know by the end of this is like that mark is important. And he does get his mark.
Let's see. I feel like this is like good if you're like in a game with someone that you're trying to beat, whether it's a board game or even sports or whatever. I've seen the eye of the storm and I forgot what fear is. It's such a good threat.
Okay, like huge shout out to Steve Zahn. I loved him as Thunderclap. Like he literally he seems so nice, and I knew this guy was going to be a villain. And when he turns it on, he fucking turns it on.
Yeah,
and he's hilarious. He's this crazy bird.
Yep.
I love the eye twitch too. Like one of his eyes like twitches like when he turns evil. Like that was a nice detail.
Dude, like a switch flipped in his brain, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
I already brought. Is it my quote? I can't remember. Sorry. I already brought this one up, but it's the guy with all of the animals screaming "Debbie" as he's chasing after. Yeah. Just I thought that was hilarious. The
delivery
was so funny.
Yeah,
and you brought it up where when he's talking to them, like they're you can't hear the conversation, but he's responding like, "You are a crazy person." And the way that he talks to Debbie is hilarious.
Yeah. If you ain't scared of a croc biting you on your face, you ain't alive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was when I thought of
Sam Elliott, man.
right? Like who else would you want saying those words?
Yeah,
But
that was a good line read. His whole story was perfect line read.
it's so good. Actually, that sets up my last quote, which I believe is right at the end of his story when they're like, show him your souvenir.
Yeah.
Was it he jiggles the tooth that which are, and the two T-Rex go, dang.
That reminded me of Friday.
It still gives me goosies. Goosies.
Yeah, that dang reminded me of the dang.
Yeah, like that.
You got knocked up. The other one that from our boy Thunderclap, the storm provides.
Yeah,
That was just cracking me up. I don't know why, but it was just
it's psychopath.
and then I have one more. Do you have any?
I'm out.
You're out. Okay. This one is more of like, okay, Pixar being Pixar. Sometimes you got to get through fear to see the beauty on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very Disney.
Yeah, that's pretty Disney.
Yeah. Who says that?
That's all the quotes. That
Could be
was
Papa.
Papa to Arlo during the Firefly scene.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, there was a moment that I actually really liked. So at the beginning of the film, you see the shadow of Papa, like when the sun is setting, got that side shadow shot.
Yeah.
I really liked the callback at the end when Arlo is coming back to the family farm, and it's his shadow that's like in the same spot. And I was like, oh man, like he's like walking his like father's legacy.
Yeah.
I missed that. That's a good catch.
Yeah, it was a perfect callback too, because it
Yeah,
was
it's a great-
visually like the only like one of a kind scene. I was like, oh, that instantly brought me back to the very beginning when Papa was walking through. It's super short. It's like 1 second, but I liked it.
Nice catch though. Like I'm gonna have to check that out and rewatch.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, does that finish it? Like we are on to
that's it.
right. Final thoughts.
Who won?
Who won the movie? Any volunteers for who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't really have any final thoughts. We said it all. Yeah, no, I got nothing. I really have nothing. So
there you go.
We've said all the thoughts.
Who won the movie? The runner-up is going to be runner-up is going to be the Sky Sharks scene. It's the one that I'm going to think about if someone says a Good Dinosaur. It's so creative and I loved it. But the true winner of the movie for me is the animation of the scenery. It's incredible. Sometimes I was wondering if I'm watching real life or if I'm watching computer animation. It's that damn good. And it wasn't just like one scene. It's throughout the entire movie. Their landscaping, scenery, environment, whatever you want to call it, it is so detailed and so on point. And it really brings a certain quality to the Good Dinosaur. So that's gonna be the winner.
You know what's funny about that is that scenery animation is almost 10 years old.
I know.
Like, could you imagine them making this in 2023?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll go since I was talking. Final thoughts are that I really appreciate watching a Pixar film that wasn't, so much in the spotlight, like something like Frozen or whatever. It's kind of nice to see what's in the vault of Pixar. Kind of see some stuff that didn't get the spotlight that they thought maybe it should have gotten. But it's a really nice, heartfelt film, very emotional. Again, the story could have had more. I just feel like there could have been more bits, like just more character to bring the story to life. We got some really good scenes with Arlo and Spot, but maybe some like new discoveries between the two. Just a little bit more to kind of make the story a little bit more unique, and whatnot. Beautiful music, beautiful animation, and yeah, it's a great film. It's something that I would definitely recommend even to children. If they've never heard of it, parents should probably show this to them as well as Frozen. But what wins the movie? I don't know. I don't have like a one thing that can win it. I'm gonna say family. I'm gonna say family wins it, because that
Easy,
seems
Dom.
to really be, what?
Isn't that his name, Vin Diesel? Dom.
Yeah.
Dumb. Yeah, no, I'm gonna say family wins it, just because that really is at the core of the story, is just family and love and being together and going through hardships and providing, and like living sort of like a homestead, like kind of lifestyle, and that all of those things are very important for life in general. So I'll say family.
Family. Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, we have said a lot. I guess I never really I don't think I fully understand why this movie has gotten so much hate from reviewers. But my best guess is that it's not your typical Pixar movie, and that makes sense. It's like you would go in expecting Pixar to be Pixar because that's what you demand as a fan, and that's what you expect. And this doesn't deliver Pixar. So I understand that it's not the best representation, but to say that this isn't a good movie, I would disagree with. Mm-hmm. It's a very good movie. It's very artistic, and beautiful. Like I'm the background is definitely the best part of this. It is absolutely beautiful. And I think the design is incredible. We've talked about how realistic it is. I mean, it's been known for a while that they are so good at animation these days that they have to tone it back to a degree, because it hits that kind of uncanny valley kind of stuff of like, it's too real. It looks weird, which is weird, right? Like that's just, but I think they do a great job, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I had another thought, but I can't remember what it was right now. Well, it's gone. What are you going to do? Maybe it comes back. But it's a, oh, now I remember what it is. This is like one of Pixar's, if not Pixar's shortest film. I think that, Nick, you brought up of like having some more bits of like, absolutely. I think there's plenty of room for this story to have been more involved, gotten more character development, and not necessarily be so tragic. And we could have gotten a better Pixar story with this, but I enjoy it for what it is. I think it probably gets too much hate, but I think it's a beautiful film. It made me feel the feels, and it had one of the coolest representations of sharks in the skies I've ever seen. Like it was so cool, scary as hell. Like it was awesome. It was awesome.
You mean it was jawsome?
It was jawsome. I'll give you that. It was jawsome. So yeah, that for me, what wins this movie, it's the animation, right? Like it's just gorgeous. I can't say that there's anything better. Maybe runner up, I would, or tie even, I would say, is the music. The soundtrack is phenomenal. It's beautiful. It is absolutely lovely. And shit, if it was just the music and the scenery, I like that's mood right there. Like, yeah, you don't need anything like that. Some of these scenes are just gorgeous. Let it happen. It's fucking art.
The screensaver.
What's that show? Planet Earth?
Sure. It was
where it's just the beautiful scenery and music.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right. So I think that's gonna do it for the Good Dinosaur. Great chat, guys. This was a fun one, and I enjoyed this movie. I hope you guys enjoyed the chat. This is fun.
Yeah. Always enjoy the chat.
Yeah. Nick, you've got next week's pick. You've got it. What's it gonna be?
Yeah. It's a twofer.
It's a winner?
It's a twofer.
A twofer.
Like two birds, one stone. It's a twofer.
Okay. I thought you were saying like you're gonna make us watch like a movie and its sequel.
Oh, I see what you mean. No.
Is this some sort of double feature you're tricking us into?
Yeah, we're gonna watch 2 movies next week.
You bastard.
God, could you imagine like a 6-hour long podcast?
Can I imagine? It's happened before.
So for our first post-Thanksgiving, beginning of Christmas season, Nick pick. Not only is it a Christmas film,
it's a Saint Nick pick.
It's a Saint Nick pick. Not only is it a Christmas film, but it's also a Schwarzenegger film.
Oh God!
Did you guess?
I already know it.
Oh God!
I can guess
Jingle
it
all the way.
Yep.
Okay.
I was gonna say I can guess it.
You know what? I have but one thing to say to that, Nicholas. It's turbo time.
Is that a quote from the movie?
Oh, you'll know.
You'll know.
You'll know.
Okay.
You'll know. That, oh my God, I can't believe this is your first time seeing Jingle All the Way. Like,
yeah.
Oh, this is going to be a fun chat. Thank you for getting me into the Christmas mood. I have the rest of the week off, so I'm going to be enjoying my life of not having to work.
Boy, oh boy.
So I'm going to look forward to going
one.
back to stuff with this movie. So this will be fun.
Yep. Yeah.
But,
so, no, right. It's on Disney Plus.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah,
which actually, I think it's a Fox movie. So that's interesting.
Which Disney owns, right?
They do own now. So more Fox properties showing up on Disney and Hulu. But all right, yeah. Thank you for watching our chat on The Good Dinosaur. Tune in next week for our amazing chat on Jingle All the Way, streaming on Disney Plus as well. Oh shoot, is it technically Disney December? Oh God, I've got to pick a Disney movie for December, don't I? Or are we just doing Christmas?
Sorry, I think we're doing Disney December.
We decided that we're going to decide if we're doing a themed month right before, pretty much.
I think this is it starting, right? So like he's hitting Disney.
Wait, hold on. Next Monday is still November. It's November 28th.
Yes.
So it's not quite December yet. But it's post Thanksgiving. So
that's why I'm bringing it up, because we switched. So like
exactly, it's Matt's pick is next, and that would be the 4th.
So if you guys need to know if I've got to pick a Disney movie or not.
I'm down for Disney December if you guys want to do that. But
I say we're starting early, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I made the first Disney movie pick. Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Then I will start scouring Disney Plus for something good.
Actually, Jen had the first Disney movie pick.
Yes.
Or do we want to? I mean, Jen's gonna be so upset if we don't do Christmas. So I don't. Maybe bring it to the chat.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we make it a crossover of Disney and Christmas, but we'll figure that out in the chat. So yes, tune in next week to watch our discussion.
This Moss December.
Yes. Yes, tune in next week for Jingle All the Way. You can check us out on Instagram at good.flickas. You can see us here on Twitch at GoodFlickas, and you can check out some of our past videos on YouTube at GoodFlickas. Give us a follow, give us a like, give us a share. Talk about us, drop a comment, say hey, and what's up. Other than that, you can send us an email at goodflickas2020@gmail.com. And I think that's gonna wrap us up for the evening. Brian, take us away, good sir.
Yeah. Friends, we want to hear from you. Just what Matt said, reach out to us. And remember, the GoodFlickas storm always provides. We'll see you next week.
Yes.